I'm doing good, thank you.
Pulse, we are good. You can welcome people to the broadcast. It is running finally.
Good. Thank you. Good morning, Rocket fans, and welcome to Spring Grove High School for today's Rocket Duels. Today's Rocket Duels will feature 4 teams. On mat 1, you will see Spring Grove, the Spring Grove Rockets taking on Waynesboro. I believe their mascot is the Indians. And over on mat 2, it is Carlisle Thundering Herd versus the Trojans from Chambersburg. To get you caught up on the speed, well, first off, I am Kevin Paulus, bringing you today's color commentary, along with my broadcast partner, Dr. David Dietrich.
Good morning, Rockets.
And as always, Dr. David Dietrich, yes, he is a 100-match winner, 2-time district champion, and NCAA qualifier, and a former assistant coach with the Rockets as well, helping to break down technique for the viewers at home. Okay, so get you up on the speed. So far on mat number 1, we have Levi Snyder versus Garrett Price. Levi Snyder out on top 2-0 with 35 seconds left. On mat number 2, we start off with the forfeit at 106. Niswanger collected a forfeit for the Thundering Herd, putting them on top 6-0. And in the 113-pound match that you're watching, Noah Clausen versus Rylan Carter. Noah Clausen on top 7-0 with 7 seconds left in the period.
And on mat 1, Levi Snyder was working a reinforced bar and is coming out to the side with a snowplow at this point. Doing a nice job getting pressure forward. Just ran out of time as he stepped underneath for that half Nelson there.
And on mat number 1, Levi Snyder's bringing in a 7-1 record for the Rockets this year, going against Garrett Price, who is a freshman. On mat number 2, Noah Clausen chooses neutral. 7-0 lead to start the second period against Rylan Carter from Chambersburg.
Levi in the midst of a nice switch here. Reverses control, ends up 4-0. On mat 2 in the second period, mat 1 in the second period. Levi cuts his opponent, so we're neutral again. Nice little fireman's carry, straight to the other wrestler's back for a 5-point move here. Levi really taking this guy to task.
Yeah, we have a 2 takedown for Noah Clausen on mat 2, taking that score to 9-0.
Snyder making it very difficult for his opponent to breathe here. As he was taking his own arm across his face, that's a very uncomfortable position. But his opponent did a nice job fighting off his back, didn't give up the pin.
He's got to make sure he keeps that arm legal. Otherwise, if it brings the arm up past 90 degrees, the ref will stop it for potentially dangerous. That move could potentially displace the elbow of his opponent.
Elbow or the shoulder. The officials do a nice job of watching to make sure that the athletes are being safe. Levi did a nice job running a bar there with a hand control, getting another 3-point near fall, extending his lead to 12-1 in the second period.
And on mat number 2, Noah Clausen is leading Rylan Carter 12-0 with 33 seconds left at 113 pounds.
And Snyder just continues the action. 12-1, second period, 10 seconds left, still working to put his opponent on his back.
Yeah, Levi is always working for the fall, always looking to gain those bonus points for the Rockets. And that's the end of the second period. Levi Snyder up 12-1. And Levi Snyder will go down to start the third period.
And I missed it, Kevin, there. Did his opponent choose top? Because I know Levi chose down in the second period. That's an interesting call there for Waynesboro. They must have confidence in their wrestler on top. And it looks like he is a leg rider. But Levi staying in good position. Actually switches on that leg. Attacked that back ankle and is now pressuring forward. It looks like he's going to get the 2 here, which he does. Extending his lead to 14-1.
It was important to get out from those legs right away because a leg rider can make you carry their weight, kind of wear you down. And also, the longer you're wrapped up in those legs, the more of a chance your opponent is going to try to turn you. So it's very important to get out like Levi did right away.
Levi coming out to the side again with that snow plow. He's going to elevate. Actually, instead of elevating to that front head chancer, he comes out with the bar again. He had success with that in the second period. Looks like he's going bar half. Great finish on for a pinning combination, bar half. Very difficult to get out of. Looks like he transitioned to bar wrist. Took it over nice and slow. Be surprised if he doesn't get the fall here. And there it is.
And fall for Levi Snyder at 5 minutes and 16 seconds.
I just love how Levi does not let off the gas during his match. Just sets the pace and keeps scoring the entire time.
And on mat 2, we're still at 12-0 with. And on mat 1, Braxton Rice gets a forfeit to take the Rockets' overall team score lead to 12-0. And on mat 2, we're at neutral. Clausen versus Carter, 12-0.
So on mat 1 for the Rockets, we have Heath Smizer coming up. Funny story. So it looks like Heath's going to be wrestling Isaac McGregor from Waynesboro. Yesterday I was in Heath's FCS class, and as you know, Kevin, part of wrestling is making weight. And yesterday, poor Heath in the class that I was in was watching his FCS teacher make red velvet cupcakes with buttercream icing. And so he got to put icing on his cupcake, but he had to take it home and wasn't able to eat it. Felt bad for him because I've been there.
Ah, yes, red velvet. My favorite is when I mash up red velvet with vanilla ice cream. Try it sometime. All right. And we're still neutral as Heath Smider is trying to work a single, but the Waynesboro wrestler looks like he had a whizzer, and he lost it.
Yep.
2-0 Smizer.
Smizer did a really nice job there on that outside single with turning the corner, tabling that leg, and really putting pressure forward on his opponent, which ultimately allowed him to finish that takedown.
And on mat 2, Noah Clausen earned a 10-0 major decision. 12-0 major decision to put the team score 10 for Carlisle, 0 for Chambersburg, and 120 pounds for the Carlisle Thundering Herd. We have Asmir. I'm sorry, excuse me. Let me make sure I get the pronunciation right. Asmir Ibrahim. And he will be wrestling Caesar Montalongro from Chambersburg. And Montalongro up on top 2-0. So mat 2, Asmir versus Caesar. And Caesar's on top 2-0.
On mat 1, Smizer's doing a nice job with the leg ride, putting a lot of pressure. As you were saying earlier, Kevin, making his opponent carry his weight, just really wearing his opponent down. He's working a mean crossface from up there, and now is actually coming across and working the far arm. Waynesboro defers for the second period, and the Rockets choose down.
And we are at 2-2 with, now 4-2 with 31 seconds left in the second period. Montalongro versus Asmir.
On mat 1, Waynesboro wrestler did a nice job starting the period in a claw ride, which allowed him to sneak that leg in on the right side. And he's now working a power half on the left side. Smizer really having to fight that power half off. That is a very uncomfortable position to be in. That Waynesboro wrestler also snuck in that second leg. Very powerful position. Once again, the official stopped it for potentially dangerous, looking at that shoulder coming across behind the head.
And a little bit about Isaac McGregor from Waynesboro. He is a freshman this year, and he is 7-2. And looking at Waynesboro's lineup, it looks like they have a lot of freshmen this year, a lot of freshman starters. So, and a couple of their freshmen, like for example, Garrett Price, he's now 6-3, and Isaac McGregor 7-2. A couple of young wrestlers who have bright futures for Waynesboro, looking very, very tough so far in their young careers.
McGregor almost had a turn there. He got a 1 count on that quick tilt on top there with the legs in. Smizer did a nice job fighting it off, but he's got to work at getting these legs out. McGregor is a tough leg rider, it looks like, and is a dangerous top opponent from that position.
And at the end of the first period on mat number 2, we are tied 4-4 with Ibrahim and Montalongro.
Mat 1, the official calls stalemate as neither opponent could score. So Smizer gets another chance at starting here. It needs to block that leg as it's coming in. His opponent's coming in with a claw ride, creating space so he can sneak that leg in. He's got to get those elbows in off the whistle. Once again, the opponent goes to the claw ride. He's going to circle out to that side, and I'm guessing he's going to come back around and put that left leg in.
I'd like to see a little bit stronger of a first move from Smizer. We got an escape, but I'd like to see a little bit stronger first move because you know that guy's coming legs. You want to do what you can to block those legs because he was getting ridden out for most of the second period. Again, that can really wear you down as a wrestler.
That said, in that position there, Smizer did a nice job getting his hips up, kind of babied up as they say in the practice room, and was able to create enough space that he was able to sneak out the back door and get that very important 1 point. And so he is now up 3-0 going into the third period, which is a big deal. That 1 point matters a lot.
Yes, because if McGregor gets a reversal, Smizer still have the lead.
Smizer also no slouch on top. He rode McGregor out for the first period after taking him down. And it looks like we have a possible fall here on mat 2 from Carlisle. Smizer on top, working legs. Looks like he's trying to hook that left arm, maybe coming into work bar there. Now he's using his hips to whip his opponent across, break his hips down. He's putting a ton of pressure on the lower back of his opponent, which makes it very difficult to get off the mat. Really, bottom man just holding on to that wrist. Ultimately should be called for stalling there. The official calls stalemate. I don't know if I saw that the same, but it is what it is.
Yep. And on mat number 2, Ibrahim from Carlisle scores a fall at 3 minutes 44 seconds to bring that team score 16-0 in favor of Carlisle. And it looks like we have Trent Walker from Carlisle, and it looks like I believe he'll be wrestling Luke Menser.
So on mat 1, Kevin, exactly what you had talked about came to fruition here. Waynesboro opponent hit a nice switch and is now bringing the score closer, 3-2, still in favor of Smizer, but Smizer's got to stay off his back or get that one escape or a reversal to make sure he wins the match here.
And at 126 on mat 2, yes, Luke Menser versus Trent Walker. Trent Walker, he wrestled Matt Repos from Central Dauphin, very, very tough. Matt Repos is a PIAA fourth place finisher. He wrestled him pretty tough, lost to him 7-3, and Luke Menser pinned Matt Repos in their dual meet. Menser was actually down 11-4. He hit an elevator and scored the fall against Repos. So they both had a common opponent. So mat number 2 should be a good match. We are at 0-0 with about 1:10 seconds left.
Smizer seems to be in good shape here, although his opponent just snuck in double legs and is going to a power half with short time. He's very close to giving up back points here with short time. Hopefully we can stay off. And he just does. Very, very close match there on mat 1, and Smizer sneaks away with a 3-2 win.
And with a 3-2 victory by Smizer brings a team score of 15-0 in favor of the Rockets. As far as team scores go, a wrestler, if he beats his opponent by 1 to 7 points, will score a decision for 3 points. And we'll bring you the matchup.
Ivan Vega comes in for a double leg, steps nice and deep, and ends up with a single, which he is working to finish right now. Vega's been a lot of fun to watch this year. Explosive wrestler, has a nice double leg, also has an arsenal of front head and arm moves. He likes to go to that gator roll and has had a lot of success with that in taking guys down right to their back and pinning them. Right now he's working that cross wrist tilt, also a very good move for him.
And Ivan Vega from Spring Grove is wrestling Zach Schimmel from Waynesboro. All right, so as I was mentioning, yes, so we have a decision. When a wrestler scores 1 to 7 points over his opponent, that gets a 3-point decision for the overall team score. A major decision, which earns teams 4 points, is when you beat your opponent from 8 to 14 points, a technical fall, and we scored an actual fall. Let me get that. 106, Ivan Vega.
Speaking of falls, you get that 6 point. Ivan Vega just came out, really did a nice job elevating his opponent's head when his opponent's on his back to get that fall. When you get your opponent's head off the mat, they can't bridge off their head, which makes it very, very difficult to not get pinned. And next up, we have Bryce Weaver from Spring Grove. And Robert Howard from Waynesboro.
And Robert Howard is another freshman for Waynesboro. He is coming in this year at 3-5 versus Bryce Weaver, who is 5-3 on the season. And on mat number 2, we have Luke Menser ahead. Looks like 5-3 over Trent Walker. 1 minute 30 second period. Now we're going to be at 5-4 on mat 2. Walker just scored an escape.
Weaver just had a nice outside single on the right-hand side. His opponent tried to counter. Looked like he was going to try and work Spladle there, but Weaver was able to shake him off and get the 2 points. Now he's going to an arm bar with the wrist and is getting really nice pressure forward on his opponent. Wants to try and keep his opponent's hips on the mat, though, unless he's going to bring him up and tilt him. Looks like he's trapped the wrist. He's driving that bar over nice and slow. Lost the wrist control, but was able to whip his opponent's hip down and is bringing him over for near fall. Doesn't look like he's quite in a position to pin, so he's going to have to readjust there, which he's doing now. He transitioned to a half Nelson, doing a nice job elevating the head like we talked about in the last match.
Yes, as a wrestler does go to bridge or bridge around their shoulders and pinning themselves.
And he gets the fall. So a quick pin, minute and 30 seconds into the first period, Weaver gets the fall. That's another 6 points for the Rockets.
And that takes their overall team score to 27-0 over the Indians from Waynesboro. And on mat number 2, we have Luke Menser leading 9-5 over Trent Walker. 1 minute 34 left in the second period. And on mat number 1, Bodie Rouser versus Brady Baker. Jared Baker, excuse me. Jared Baker. Bodie Rouser is a junior, 6-4 this year. Going against Jared Baker, sophomore from the Rockets. And he scores a quick takedown to take the lead 2-0.
So Rouser got a takedown there pretty quick in the first period with a little snap and spin. As he was working on top there, he's got to be careful. He was riding half Nelson on the left-hand side, transitioned to a half Nelson on the right-hand side, and it looked to me like both hands were on the back of his opponent's head, which would be considered a full Nelson. and that is a technical violation. Even if the hands are both barely touching the head, that is a full Nelson. So that said, the officials can't see everything at all times, and so it looks like that call was missed. Baker does a nice job of working to his feet, so we're neutral again, 2-1 with a minute left.
And on mat number 2, Luke Menser is controlling his opponent, Trent Walker. 9-5, minute 20 left in the third period.
Rouser doing a nice job of staying position on his feet in neutral. Baker was tied up, collar tie, head to head, really ear to ear, which is not where we want to be. We want to be forehead to forehead, and was pressuring forward, and Rouser was able to pass him by for another quick 2. With 15 seconds left here in the first period, the score is 4-1, Waynesboro.
And last year, Bodie Rouser, his final record was 11-11 as a sophomore, so he's looking to improve this year. And Jared Baker trying a switch. Bodie was able to fight it off. End of the first period, Bodie Rouser from Waynesboro on top, 4-1 of Jared Baker. And Bodie Rouser choosing bottom. Jared Baker starting on top. Gets to his feet right away. He's got to separate the hips if he wants to escape. And he turns in.
Baker in a dangerous position here. Rouser really bringing the action to Baker at this point. Baker's got to get a little more offensive here and get his opponent out of position. It looks like the official stopped to remind the wrestlers to put their masks up. Obviously, that is a huge difference in any sport this year. Student athletes are to wear their masks, and the PIAA officials are doing a nice job just helping the students to remind the students to keep them up so we can make sure everybody's safe.
And on mat number 2, Luke Menser scores the victory over Trent Walker. I believe the score is 9-5, bringing the overall team score 16-3 in favor of the Thundering Herd. And we'll be getting some names here for a second on mat number 2. And we're at 5-1 with 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the second period. Rouser over Baker.
One of the things that you see high school wrestlers struggle with at times is hand fighting and setups. And a lot of times we'll just take straight shots and not get their opponent out of position, which then ultimately results in a counter and giving up points instead of getting points. And so I know one of the things that high school wrestling coaches work on with their student athletes is that hand fighting, to work to get to a position where you can dominate your opponent, where you can create angles, where you can hit your setups, and you can get those deep shots that you can finish. I'd like to see Baker work some more setups here. He's putting hands in face, not really doing a whole lot of hand fighting. Looks like he's more of an outside shooter. And with this particular opponent who stays in great position, that is very challenging to get past their defense.
And on mat number 2, at 132 pounds, there was a forfeit. Panagiotis, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Panagiotis Petsinis receives a forfeit at 132 pounds. And now 138 pounds. Hold on 1 second, fans on mat number 2. Dave, why don't you bring me action up on mat number 1?
Jared Baker ended up getting hit with a quarter Nelson. That quarter Nelson is tough to stop when you are on your knees in neutral there. And his opponent was able to turn him to his back and ultimately finished with a fall.
And on mat number 2 for the Thundering Herd, we have Clayton Shughart versus Anthony Colangelo from the Trojans. with the Thundering Herd up 22-3.
And on mat 1, we have Gavin Shivert from the Rockets. Waynesboro got a quick 2 points and is now working that cross wrist tilt. Shivert working to isolate hand control. He's in pretty solid position right now, working his hips out, trying to break the grip of his opponent. His opponent just sucked him back, though. Dangerous place to be, and went right back to that cross wrist tilt. That move really revolutionized the top position in the last 2 decades here. And it's amazing, wrestling, one of the oldest sports on earth, just continues to evolve. And that move came really into popularity around 2005, 2006, when Brian Polishuk was going through, and Brian Polishuk is our only Spring Grove state champion. And I do remember him wrestling opponents that were really working that tilt, and it was something that was new to the coaching staff that we had to work to defend. And then Central Dauphin just exploded with guys that were outstanding with that tilt, who ultimately won all kinds of state medals. And you see that anywhere from the youth wrestling programs the whole way up through the NCAA now. Just a great tilt for a quick 3 points. Shivert here got sucked back again, this time to his back. It looks like he's going to punch through, though.
And I believe Shivert's opponent is Caden Rouser, a junior's coming in at 5-0 this year. He went 24-15 last year and took 4th in the section, and his career record is 50-28. And to bring up the speed on mat number 2 at 138 pounds, Clay Sughart lost by fall to Anthony Colangelo at 1 minute 30 seconds. And that brought the team score to, I believe, 22-9. Jarrett Wilson received the forfeit at 145 pounds to make the score 28-9. And now at 152 pounds, we have Anthony DeAngelo from the Trojans versus Gavin Nicholson from the Thundering Herd.
So Shivert had difficulty the first time his opponent standing up. He had difficulty bringing him to the mat. And so the second time here with the restart, his opponent stood again, and Shivert ultimately let him go. If you can't bring your opponent to the mat after a period of time, the official will call you for stalling.
And Gavin Nicholson from the Thundering Herd scoring the fall.
And it looks like Waynesboro got the tech fall there. 42 seconds into the second period, and so that's 5 points for Waynesboro. That brings the team score to 27 for the Rockets, 11 Waynesboro. Next up for the Rockets, we have Caleb Bolin.
.152 weight class, Waynesboro, Colby Vittori, Spring Grove, Caleb Bolin.
And from Waynesboro, Colby Vittori. He is a junior coming in this year with a 3-6 record, and last year in the 1920 season he went 14-12.
Bolin really having an outstanding, I would say, kind of a breakout year this year. Just really a solid wrestler, wrestling clean matches. You saw there he shot what looked to be an outside single. The opponent tried to throw him over the top for the reversal there, and Bolin just maintained good position and was able to finish. Now he's working half on the left-hand side. He's got a spiral ride on the right. The edge of the mat here, he's just going to look not to give up 2 points. He's getting himself into, I just said about staying in great position. He's getting himself into an awkward position there and ended up giving the 2 points. I think Caleb looked a little frustrated with that situation there.
And the team score on mat number 1, the Rockets up 27-11 in the team score.
Love what I just saw from Bolin there. Short sit, started really pressuring back into his opponent. Went to more or less a Peterson was awarded the 2 points, and then his opponent was able to regain control, and so now it is back to 4-4. Opponent working a half on the left-hand side. Looks like Bolin was going to work a Peterson again, but dangerous thing to do while your opponent has a half Nelson in.
And on mat number 2 from the Thundering Herd, we have Ryder Davenport versus Sean Smith. Overall team score 34-9. Carlisle on top of Chambersburg. We are at the 160-pound match on mat number 2.
Bolin there was able to stand, turn in, and actually ultimately get into a double leg position, which he was able to finish. Looks like his opponent just has dangerous hips, and so he's really going to have to make sure in this match, more so than others, that he's really staying in great position. Sorry for cutting you off there, Kevin.
That is quite all right. Hey, keep bringing the action, Dave. And on mat number 2, Davenport is up 3-2, 160-pound match. Sean Smith going to start on top.
I'd like to see Bolin get a little more pressure forward up on his opponent's hands when the whistle starts here. His opponent's doing a great job getting to his feet right now. Bolin really kind of coming out to the front here, allowing his opponent to attack his leg from the bottom position. Short time here, so he shouldn't give up any points. So we're going to end the period 6-4, Bolin on top. Just his opponent doesn't stop trying to get him in some awkward positions, and that's a dangerous place to be.
And Caleb Bolin deferred, and Batora is going to choose bottom to start the second period.
Looks like Bolin now working maybe to get that cross wrist tilt. Transitions to a half Nelson. He's getting decent pressure forward, but bottom man's doing a good job working hand control. Looks like Bolin was able to establish the hand control now. Is pulling his opponent across. Just really having a hard time getting his opponent in the position he wants him to be in.
I'd like to see Bolin, if it looks like he's trying to work a Mills half, let him see him bring his outside leg out to step up to bring his opponent cross and run the Mills half.
Again, his opponent puts him in a weird position. Bolin got his hips down. His opponent stepped over and was able to get a 2-point reversal. I imagine Caleb's getting a little frustrated in this match because when you're wrestling somebody that's a little unorthodox, you just don't know what to predict. And the normal positions that you would be in become abnormal, and it becomes difficult to wrestle in that kind of environment. And so he's just going to have to continue to focus on scoring 1-2 points at a time, staying in good position, trying not to get frustrated and flustered.
Mentor, he looks like he's a little bit of a long wrestler, so it looks like he's trying to lock up a cradle here on Bolin, trying to use his length to his advantage.
Bolin once again turning in, working to that double leg position, and that is a very tough spot for your opponent to defend. He's got 30 seconds here, though, and he has got to get his opponent flat on the mat.
Yeah, I like to see him try to get his opponent flat on the mat, because when your opponent's flat on the mat, they can't do any rolls when they're flat on their stomach and getting that pressure forward, make them carry your weight. Bator is constantly trying to get to his base, and he's doing a good job of it. He's constantly up. He's never, ever down.
Short time here if Bolin can stay in this position. I don't ever really advocate for stalling, but sometimes you just got to wrestle smart. Bolin just staying in this position, making sure he doesn't give up any reversal, ends the period up 2 points, 8-6.
And on mat number 2, it looks like Sean Smith is on top, 7-3 of Ryder Davenport. Minute 40 left in the third period.
So Bolin's going to start in the down position. So far, he's been able to reverse his opponent every time he's been on the bottom. Let's hope that holds true for the third period here. Looks like he's going to work to get, well, it was looking like he was going to work to get to neutral, but he ultimately turned in again, went right to a double leg. Now as his opponent's leg split and is working a half, he has his opponent in a very dangerous position. Now this might be the first time he's actually gotten his opponent on his back this match. And it looks like he got a 1 count, not quite there. He's going to readjust here.
He's got to lift that head. I mean, if his wrestlers kind of orthodox, they can really roll out of those kinds of positions, and there he did.
So ultimately he doesn't get any back points there and gives up the reversal. He still has a 2-point lead as the score is 10-8.
Man,
A lot of time left in the third period here.
I'm surprised he didn't get those two near fall.
And now his opponent's working a half Nelson.
With an unorthodox wrestler like Bator, you can never count them out when they're on their back until the whistle sounds and the ref slaps the mat, because they can roll out of a lot of situations.
Looks like Bolin was getting his head awfully close to his knee there, and right as I was thinking that, his opponent slaps on a cradle. Thankfully, we were rolling out of bounds. That's a 3-point move and would have put his opponent up by 1. Looks like Coach Conover might be asking about the lack of near-fall points awarded there during that half Nelson.
Yeah, I was surprised that was not awarded. And it looks like the referee is owning up to it. I saw him pat his chest. I think it's a call that he may have missed, and Tyke Conover is none too pleased because it should be 12-8. And on mat number 2, match ends 7-10. Sean Smith over Ryder Davenport, taking that team score to 37-9.
Bolin did a nice job standing up, getting his hips away, cutting out. Got one neutral. He was up 11-10, but just gave up a quick takedown. Brings the match to 11-10. Now 12-10 with the escape. Bolin has to stay in good position here, or he needs to score. He can't give up a takedown here, as that would tie the match. Bolin shoots in. He has his back arm trapped, though. His opponent's trying to drive his hips over. Bolin able to get his hips under him, power up. Short time here, so once again, we're going to end the period smart, not trying to do anything crazy. Maintains a 2-point lead and wins 12-10. Hard-fought match for both wrestlers.
And on mat number 2, we have Tate Nichter versus Logan Rhodes. And Nichter scoring the fall of 30 seconds.
Wrestling 160, Waynesboro, Springboro, Isaiah Mummert.
Isaiah Mummert wrestled 160 pounds as a freshman, doing really an outstanding job this year. Very explosive wrestler, shoots a nice deep double leg, drives through his opponent, takes him down right away, was looking for the half, couldn't quite get it there on the opposite side of the mat.
And his opponent, fellow freshman Titus Mon. He is coming in with a 6-3 record, and Isaiah Mummert is coming with a 7-1 record, so it looks like two equal opponents. So that's two fresh, 160 pounds. This should be a good match.
A lot of times in wrestling, the first takedown kind of tells the tale, Kevin. And Isaiah was able to blow through his opponent. I'm not so sure that this is an equal bout between these two wrestlers. And Isaiah just earned 2 back points. His opponent earned the escape. I think he might just be a step ahead here. I'd like to see him maybe block the arms there coming into that double leg so he's clearing hands. It's just a better position to be in. A guy can't catch the underhooks. Right here he could post on that left side. Looks like he's working a little. Might be going to a Russian there.
And on mat number 2, we have Aiden Height from Chambersburg. He is going against Colton Zimmerman. We're at the 189-pound match on mat number 2. And in the last match, Tate Nichter scored by fall over Logan Rhodes, 30 seconds, bringing that score 37-15 for the overall team score.
Mummert over here on mat 1 just took a quick little Russian across the front. Really didn't establish control in the arm, but used that to throw the opponent's arm across his body and to hit another straight double leg at the edge of the mat, awarding him 2 more points. And so he's back on top, up 6-1 with 30 seconds left. Working a nice tight waist, breaking his opponent flat to the mat where his opponent can't work to escape. Looks like he's driving his opponent over top for the arm bar on the left-hand side. Going to work to possibly establish wrist control here. His opponent's kind of peeking up into him, which does make it difficult to finish that bar. Short time here. Looks like he's not going to stop. 2 seconds, 1, and time. So he ends the first period up 6-1.
And Mong from Waynesboro is going to defer. Mummert's going to choose down to start the second period, up 6-1. And on mat number 2, Height versus Zimmerman. We're at 0-0 to start the second period.
Mummer doing a nice job creating space with his hips there, established hand control right before he peeked his hips out, up 7-1. He's had a ton of success with this double leg. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him go back to that. His opponent tries to take a shot, actually goes to his knees. Mummert's able to sprawl and stop the shot.
Mummert is going to be a lot of fun to watch after this year, for his next 3 years left of his wrestling career. He's going to be a lot of fun. Nice asset for Tyke Conover in his lineup.
Multi-sport athlete, which we encourage all of our student athletes. Isaiah Mummert also plays football in the fall. Does a nice job for the football team. Big athletic kid. His opponent's trying to work an elbow tie on the left-hand side. Once he hit high crotch, Mummert countering with a reshot on the double leg. So there's that double leg again. Kevin, you know me, double legs all day long.
And they're painful, too. Yeah, so double leg is a great takedown because there's not much you can do as far as a defense or a counter to a double leg takedown. Single leg takedowns, there is a bunch of defenses you can do to defend off your wrestler when he's trying to shoot a double or a single leg on you. Double leg, not a whole lot you can do.
You and I have talked before, and for our listeners, as with any sport, much of the sport is mental. And when you can dominate your opponent with a quick double leg, and pass through them and put them on the rear end, and maybe take them right to their back, you're winning the mental game. You wear your opponent down. You break their confidence.
Yes, you're imposing your will on theirs to try to break their will. That's what you're trying to do. And yes, mental, physical, it's two of those things with wrestling. Oh, nice little dump by Mong. Scores a reversal. 9-3 left with about 3 seconds left in the second period. So Mong was giving up a major decision at the end of the second period, was able to score a quick reversal, make it 9-3 to start the third period.
Looked like the movie hit there was kind of a variation of a Granby. Mummert appeared to have that bar in and just didn't have his pressure quite right, and his opponent sensed that and was able to roll through and get the reversal.
And we have a pause in the action on mat number 1. And on mat number 2, Aiden Hay is starting up on top of Colton Zimmerman. And Colton Zimmerman is able to get the reversal. Well, almost get the reversal. And Colton Zimmerman gets the escape, make it 3-1 in that match. And Isaiah Mummer scores another takedown to make it 11-3.
Just dominating his opponent on his feet. Unless he's going to work a bar or a half here and put his opponent on his back to pin him, I'd really love to see him let his opponent up and take him down. It's fun to watch him on his feet. So doing a nice job here, breaking his opponent flat to the mat. Where if your stomach's on the mat, you're not getting off the bottom.
And that helps with beating unorthodox wrestlers. A couple of them are on Waynesboro's team.
All right, Mummert's got that hat. Looks like he was going to get good pressure there. His opponent's able to get his hips under him and turned away, which makes it very challenging to finish that move.
And we're at neutral on mat number 2, third period. 50 seconds left, 3-1. Colton Zimmerman in the lead.
All right. Mummert turned his opponent, couldn't quite catch him there. Opponent did a nice job rolling through. Currently, he has the major with the 11-3 gap. He's working for the fall at this point. Working an arm bar, running around the head. His opponent just really doing a good job fighting off that position. We've given up that 1 point, so there's no major decision now. Mummert has to get the takedown to score another team point. 26 seconds left. If I had to guess, I'm thinking we're going to see another double leg. Opponent does a nice job, though, going front, head, and arm. If anything, he's just trying to waste time at this point. All right, and so we get to restart with 10 seconds left. Coach Tyke Conover telling him, get low, penetrate, get that double leg.
I'm just surprised at Waynesboro's wrestler. He's still, clock's not running. And clock's not running on mat number 1.
So with 4 seconds left, Mummert goes to the tie. Would have liked to have seen another takedown there to get that additional team point. Always difficult in those last few seconds as guys are getting tired towards the end of the match.
I'll tell you what, though, Mong, he kept up the fight. He really kept up the fight. I would have thought that Mummert would have broken him just by keep doing his double leg takedowns, but he just kept fighting and fighting in that match.
So next up for us, Tommy Dressler, and it looks like he's going to get the forfeit. I know, Kevin, as a wrestler, that is always very disappointing when you train all week to get a match and then you get a forfeit. That said, I also understand from the coaching perspective, when you have a wrestler like Tommy Dressler for the other team, if you can avoid having your wrestlers go out that might not be matched well with a wrestler of that caliber, if you can avoid that matchup, it's sometimes better for your team spirit.
I equate it to getting intentionally walked in baseball. Kind of a good feeling that they fear you that much.
So next up for the Rockets, Teague Conover. Looks like Teague was taking a double leg, got caught underneath, and it's not a spot you want to be when you're wrestling in the upper weights, carrying a lot of extra weight there.
When we talk about wrestling, somebody's caliber like Tommy Dressler, when looking at Waynesboro's lineup, I kind of understand why they may have done that. It's also for the benefit of their wrestler, just not a good match for that wrestler. If you're trying to build confidence for that wrestler, you don't want to be sending him out to somebody who's going to be wrestling at Lock Haven next year. So understand that move by the coach.
Teague right now fighting off his opponent, has a really working a crossface trapped arm, looking to go for a crossface cradle there. Teague did a nice job fighting that off. He has got to establish hand control and get that arm off his elbow.
And Teague Conover's opponent, Jake Shorn.
There he's working the wrist there. He peeled the hand off. Now should be working his hips up. Opponent doing a nice job blocking that elbow, coming across with that crossface and attacking that far arm. Teague's going to continue to work his hips back into him. He's got his elbows in. His opponent's pressuring forward. Teague's going to pressure back into him. So much of the sport is about action, reaction. Conover continuing to maintain good position. Like to see him create a little space with his hips here. His opponent's throwing legs in now. Not something you see too much at 189 pounds. So a short time here, the score is 2-0 Waynesboro.
We talk about carrying weight. Having another 189-pounder right on your hips like that, that's not going to be easy. That wears your opponent out. 189. And to bring up to speed on mat number 2, Colton Zimmerman scored a 5-1 decision over Aiden Height. 5-1 decision, make it 40-15.
Conover just hit a beautiful low single on the right-hand side. Looks like he was going to try and peek out the back door. He's got to elevate that leg and come out behind as he's doing now. Now he's got to pop that head out. His opponent's got his head trapped. Look like he might be working spladle here. Conover's got to be careful. If he could pressure down on that left leg. His opponent's doing a good job now pressuring down, stepping over, and he's got that arm trap, so he's got the 2 points. Conover's got to be careful here. He's got to get that arm free. There he limp arms out, and he's going to continue to work to his base.
And on mat number 2, we have Malik Miller from the Thundering Herd versus Zach Evans from Chambersburg. And in that match, we are in the second period. And the score is 1-0. Evans on top of Malik Miller. Team score 40-15 in favor of Carlisle, with one more match to go at 285 pounds.
All right, Waynesboro called for stalling there, not making an attempt to turn on top. So Waynesboro up 4-0. Let's see what Teague does here on the restart. Quick stand up, gets that arm trapped. His opponent able to drive him back to the mat.
Yeah, he's working that leg again to try to wear down Conover. He has him flat on the mat. Very, very tough to work up from that position at the bottom. Like that, flat on the mat, it is hard to work up. Shorn is doing a great job of keeping Conover down. And he's got a Western leg ride on Conover's right leg. And Evans scoring a late takedown on mat number 2 to take that match score 3-0.
So on mat 1, it's third period. We get a start here. Conover down 4-0. Let's see what kind of gas he has in the tank here. We're going to have to get an escape or reversal and some back points, or an escape and multiple takedowns. Right now his opponent has been called for locked hands, and so he's given up a point here.
And he already has a stall call against him.
I'm not quite sure I understand the call there, because the opponent had a head and an arm from the top position. He may have adjusted, and I just missed what the original call was there. It's very positive in favor of Conover, though. Now with an escape and a takedown, he can tie this match.
And Shorn on top does have a stall call against him. Get another stall call. Now you're talking a 4-2 match. In wrestling, you never, ever want to give away free points like that to your opponent, because they could be that could work in your opponent's favor depending on how close the match is. Now, Shorn has been dominating the match, but there's still plenty of time left for Conover to try to work some moves, put some transition moves together, try to escape.
His opponent's doing a nice job of riding that ankle, burn a lot of time, not allowing Conover to create a lot of space between their hips, and so it makes it very challenging for Conover, the bottom man, to get out at that point. And Waynesboro called for stalling, and so that makes the match 4-2. This is getting very interesting here, Kevin. So 52 seconds left. The score has gone from 4-0 to 4-2. Now with an escape and a takedown, Conover could win this match. A reversal would tie it. He had his opponent's head. He's got his opponent in bad position here. He's got to peel that hand off and get separation and get that 1 point. Ooh, it looks like he's going to sit through, but his opponent's got a hip whip.
What a move.
Beautiful bridge there, but his opponent looks like he might have gotten a 2 count there, Kevin. I'm a little concerned. No near fall, no change in control. So quite a flurry there. A lot of energy expended by those larger wrestlers. 24 seconds left. Conover's got to explode here. He can't waste time on the bottom. So quick short sit. Trying to get himself to a powerful position. He's got to get pressure back into his opponent here and create hip separation. Opponent riding that ankle. Now he's going to sneak the leg in. And it looks like this match is going to end 4-2 for Waynesboro.
And that brings the team score to 39-14 in favor of the Rockets. And we're moving into the 215-pound match.
Weight class, Waynesboro, Hayden Hitch, Spring Grove, Logan Herbst. All right, Michael Hershey.
So Michael Hershey for the Rockets, a freshman this year. Michael Hershey Jr., his dad graduated in 1997, the same year I did, and was a heavyweight for the Rockets. He was a great wrestler for us, a great teammate, and now works in the local community. So it's great to see the families of Spring Grove staying in Spring Grove and the program just continue to grow as their children come up through. And Kevin, I got to say, when you look at the various programs that we have in Spring Grove with wrestling, the Papertown Pinners, the South Central PA Wrestling Club, the junior high program, and the high school program, you see a lot of generational wrestlers coming through the program and their parents giving back to the program in the form of coaching and volunteering. And so I think that has a lot to do, and I know that has a lot to do with the success of the program. There's a culture of wrestling and supporting the program in Spring Grove.
And that's the important, having your community behind you, because that community helps to feed your programs. Like you said, having a strong elementary base, which then will feed your junior high, which then helps to feed your high school. So thank you, community, for helping support Spring Grove Wrestling. We couldn't do it without you. And on mat number 2, Leighton Schmick scored a fall over Avery Coons from Chambersburg. And the final team score on mat 1, Carlisle 46-18 over the Trojans of Chambersburg, 46-18. All right, and on mat 1, we have Caden Ditch from Waynesboro. He is a sophomore, and he's going against Mike Hershey, who is a freshman. And as you said, his father was a heavyweight. Mike Hershey's only a freshman, and he's about 6'2", 212. So if he says that was a heavyweight, well, it looks like Mike has some very, very strong genes in his family, because Mike is a very, very big boy. He's a very big freshman.
Well, I tell you, it's a very positive sign for the Rocket Wrestling program when you have kids like Tanner Grimm wrestling for the program at 106 pounds. You have Isaiah Mummert wrestling at 160 pounds. You have, I believe, Luke Smizer is in the lineup. I've seen him in the lineup, wrestling around 140, 145 pounds. Tough wrestler there. You have Mike Hershey at heavyweight, and I believe there's a few others. And so a bright future with the Rocket Wrestling program. And I know if you talk to Coach Josh Ross with the junior high program, he also has some freshmen on his team and is very pleased with the performance of his 7th and 8th graders. And so, again, just feeding the program. You look at the wrestling community continues to grow and continues to produce and coach these solid wrestlers for the Rocket program.
And Ditch got called for locked hands on Mike Hershey. He also got a stall call as well, so he's given away some points here at the start of the period.
We're going to have to watch that knee. So the official called potentially dangerous. Looked like Hershey's knee was getting twisted pretty good there.
Winning coaches, please bring your scorebook to the head table to be copied. Winning coaches, scorebook to the head table.
And Mike Hirsch is trying to baby up here to start to get out of the bottom position. He's able to sprawl. He's able to use his length to get that sprawl and get the spin behind to get the 2-point reversal to make it 3-0.
And now he's broken his opponent flat to the mat, which is a good place to be. So he's working that cross face to the far arm.
Looks like he's trying to work cross face cradle. You don't see that too much out of 215 pounders, but when you're 6'2", it's going to be easy to do.
He just continued to work that far arm, and it was up high on the elbow and circled around his opponent's head, put him on his back, and is ultimately able to get the fall. And so, again, freshman Mike Hershey gets a fall at 215 pounds. That brings the team score to 45-14 for the Rockets going into the heavyweight match. Next up for the Rockets, Jeffrey Borman.
And it looks like he's going to be wrestling Hector Gabriel.
285, Waynesboro, Hector Gabriel. Spring Grove, Jeffrey Morgan.
Borman working a front head and arm. Ultimately spins behind his opponent. He's working that left wrist, bringing it up on his opponent's back. Transitioning to an armbar on the left-hand side. A nice little crossface on the right. Just softening his opponent up a little bit. Nice job using some pressure. He had that armbar, just kind of used the armbar as a leverage to whip his opponent to his back, readjusted for the fall. And so the final match score 51-14 for the Rockets as Borman gets the fall in 41 seconds.
All right, and as you may see with the COVID protocols, teams do not line up for a traditional handshake. They just stand at their benches and just wave good match. And final score 51-14.
Coaches.
And real quickly, fans, we're doing a pause in action for between rounds for sanitizing mats. The next round will begin at 9:12, Rocket fans and wrestling fans watching from Spring Grove Live's broadcast of the wrestling. So come back at 9:12 for the start of round number 2.
For future references, excavating.
And welcome back to the action for the Spring Grove Rocket Duels. And to bring you up to summary as to the first round of competition. On mat number 1, the Spring Grove Rockets defeated the Waynesboro Indians 54-14. And on mat number 2, scoring a win over the Thundering Herd from Carlisle, scoring a 46-18 victory over the Trojans from Chambersburg.
Again, welcome back, Rocket fans and anyone watching this broadcast. For those of you just coming on, my name is Dave Dietrich, and I'm here with Kevin Paulus. My role here at the Spring Grove Area High School is building principal. That said, 97 grad, lived here all my life, love watching Rocket wrestling, and really any wrestling for that matter, because this sport is a passion of mine, and I know Kevin's been involved for a long time as well. As we return here, we just want to talk to you about some of the things that we're doing here in the Spring Grove community to keep our student athletes safe. As you can see, everyone's wearing their masks. That's something that we're doing. Our maintenance and custodial crew is doing an outstanding job of keeping our facilities clean and sanitized. During the break here, all of the mats were sanitized. Wanted to let you know, too, that each team, because of the amazing facilities that we have here, has their own locker room. And so the student-athletes don't have to intermix in the lockers. In the bleachers, each team has their own area of the bleachers assigned. And even in our cafeteria, each team has their own area of the cafeteria assigned. And that's just some of the things that we're doing here to keep our student-athletes, coaches, everyone safe and separated during this pandemic. And we're happy to do those things to offer the opportunity for our student-athletes to compete, because we know that this involvement in school activities is huge for the mental health and well-being of our student-athletes. And so we're happy to be able to do those things, and we're very excited and thankful for all of those who contribute to the various ways they support our student-athletes and our extracurricular activities in general.
Officials, time for round two. Please report your mats. Coaches, wrestlers, and officials, time for round two.
And round number 2 will feature the Spring Grove Rockets versus the Chambersburg Trojans on mat number 1. And on mat number 2 will be the Carlisle Thundering Herd versus the Waynesboro Indians. On mat number 1, the Rockets will be bringing in a current 8-1 dual meet record against the Chambersburg Trojans, who are currently 5-4. Last year, the Chambersburg Trojans defeated Spring Grove Rockets 48-15. So Spring Grove will be looking to bounce back against Chambersburg this time around.
It looks like this round will be starting at 113 pounds, as the captains have come out on mat 2 already, and they're getting ready to start here at 113 pounds. Looks like the Rockets and the Trojans from Chambersburg are in the center of the mat for the coin toss. Kevin, let's talk a little bit about why the coin toss is important.
The team that wins a coin toss can determine which team sends out which wrestler first at a weight. Now, why that's important is if you want to shuffle your lineup to get the best match you can, or if you want to move one of your wrestlers away from another opponent's exceptionally good wrestler. It's essentially a points trade. That's what coaches are trying to do. They're trying to maneuver their lineup for a points trade in order to maximize the points they can earn for their team score.
And it looks like for the Rockets, Levi Snyder's coming out at 113 pounds in this bout. He wrestled 106 in the last bout against Waynesboro. So Levi Snyder bumping up a weight class to wrestle 113 pounds. And so this is exactly what Kevin was just talking about. There's some movement in the lineup in the very first bout of this match.
And we have Levi Snyder bumping up to 113 pounds against Rylan Carter. Actually, the reason that they are doing this is because Chambersburg is forfeiting 106, and Spring Grove has a backup 106-pounder who's going to go out and receive the forfeit at the end of the match. So it's nice to have two wrestlers weigh in at a specific weight class, so you can actually do that to go accept the forfeit and then move your better wrestler up. Now, Ryan Carlisle from Chambersburg. He is coming in as a sophomore at 7-0 this year, and he in the 1920 season he went 13-15.
Looks like Snyder attempting to establish position here. His opponent staying in pretty good position. It's a little peek out or slide by, as some call it. Gets his head trapped underneath here. Let's see if he works out of this position, and he does. Clears position. Gets a little restart. His opponent attempts a single, not really committed, and Snyder comes with the dump on the far side, doing a nice job trapping that arm. And it looks like he's going to continue to work that forearm, as we also saw that at the 215-pound weight class with Hershey in the last period. So he transitions to cross arm or cross wrist tilt, looks like he's working that. Or is he establishing a bar on that left-hand side? Might be a reinforced bar. Hard to see from this angle, Kevin.
And another factor in his decision for bumping Snyder up to Carter, not only to receive the forfeit at 106, but also Levi Snyder defeated Carter last year in a dual meet 7-2. So he already has a victory over him, so that plays in a factor as well.
Again, doing a nice job attacking that far arm, really torquing his opponent. Let's see what he does with it here. A variety of moves you could hit from this position. So ends the period 2-0. Took his opponent down with that dump and controlled him for the remainder of the period. Deferred. So Chambersburg chooses down for the second period. And let's see Snyder go to work on top.
And to bring up the speed on mat number 2, looked like Noah Clausen received the forfeit at 113 pounds to make the score 6-0 Thundering Herd. And at 120 pounds, we have Asmir Ibrahim versus McGregor from, not Conor McGregor from the MMA, but McGregor from the Waynesboro Indians at 120 pounds. We are at 2-2 with 1 minute and 37 seconds left in the second period on mat 2.
So in mat 1, Carter from Chambersburg got to his feet. Snyder attempted to do a back trip by stepping behind his opponent. His opponent was able to turn into him and actually get a reversal there. And so Snyder is now down. The score is tied 2-2. Snyder doing a good job working back to his feet despite his opponent's size difference. Opponent just did the same little back trip and has that cross arm tilt locked up. Let's see if he commits to it here. Snyder did a nice job of freeing that hand. That is paramount when you're in that position. Doing a good job establishing hand control, getting his hips low, making his opponent carry that weight. Snyder doing a really nice job getting to his feet. He's establishing hand control at this point. His opponent's doing a really nice job of establishing control, but has to return him to the mat or he's going to be called for stalling here. And there is the stall call. Snyder can keep this up. So it looks like Chambersburg's coach told him to go ahead and cut him to release him, which gives Snyder that one escape point. It also prevents Carter from getting called for another stall point.
And on mat number 2, Ibrahim on top 4-2, ending the second period, moving into the third period.
So Snyder working his hips away from his opponent. He's coming to a front head and arm position here. Let's see if he snap spins, work that arm. Actually, time runs out. Snyder on top 3-2.
And Levi is going to choose down to start the third period. Great call because Carter already has a stall call against him. So if he get another stall call or an escape, Levi is going to add to his lead. And you hear Coach Menser from Chambersburg telling Carter to cut him. He didn't want to give up that extra stall call.
And Snyder to a quick outside single. He wants to go down and attack that ankle. There he goes. Perfect timing there. He lowers his left hand, attacked that ankle, tabled the leg a little bit, put a lot of pressure on the opponent's leg as his opponent turned away and gave up the 2 points. So Snyder up 6-2 with 1:28 left. Clock should not be running right now. So it should be up to 1:28, looks like. Maybe 1:29. And they stop at 1:27, all right.
And you see Snyder digging his legs in the mat, trying to keep pressure forward, keep his weight on his opponent. And you got to try to stay behind him, too. Come out to the side, then that's when your opponent can get that separation they need to try a reversal. Ooh, nice roll by Carter. Snyder able to follow. And he's got to lift him up and bring him back down. He has his
He's
arm
got to watch that hip whip. Oh, so Carter tried to step over. Snyder did a nice job powering through that.
Oh, he's got the head. He's got the
Readjusted.
he's the head
he's got
sunk.
that head elevated, Kevin. Oh. I'm always amazed when guys get out of positions like that. That looked tight. So Levi working that bar on the left-hand side. He's got wrist control on the right-hand side. Let's see if he can get the right pressure. Right now his opponent's looking into him, and you don't want that when you have a bar because guys will often sit through on that as you try and run it. And that puts you in a very dangerous position. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if Snyder had him flat here.
And the referee still holding 2 near fall. Snyder did score near fall points, but not awarding. Oh, now he broke the hold. Now the referee will award those 2 near fall.
So the score now 8-2, Snyder. Very short time left. Looks like we're going to finish the period and the match with a lead of 8-2. So that's 3 team points for the Rockets. Hard fought match on mat 2 here. 5-2, 20 seconds left. A lot of action in this match over here.
Asmir Ibrahim, we saw him a couple times last year. He is very physical. He loves to bring action. In fact, a lot of those Carlisle wrestlers, they force action. They push the pace. They will come after you, and Ibrahim's one of those wrestlers. And on mat number 1, we have Heath Smizer from Spring Grove versus Caesar Montalongo. Montalongo is a junior. Last year he went 6-6 for the Trojans. And that's the end of the match on mat number 2. Ismail Ibrahim scoring a 5-2 victory over his opponent from Waynesboro, McGregor, bringing that team score to 9-0.
So Smizer, a nice low single on the right-hand side, looking to come out the back door. He's got to elevate here. In this position, the opponent that gets their hips up generally is the one that scores. Chambersburg throws a leg in here. No point awarded yet. Very interesting position. Smizer's got to elevate this leg and get his hips up. So he's back underneath now. His opponent's at this point looking to get a stalemate. Opponent's going funk roll now. Coming out the back door, and he's going to elevate that leg. We have quite a scramble here.
So with the funk roll, I think the saying goes, higher hips wins.
And Smizer's in the same position, and so if he can continue to roll and elevate the leg, which he's doing now he's coming switch. The official hasn't awarded any points yet. Looks like Chambersburg's going to get 2 here. So a hard-fought scramble there for both opponents.
And on mat number 2, we have Walker from the Thundering Herd versus Scheimel from the Waynesboro Indians.
And Smizer on mat 1 just got the reversal, and so that score is tied 2-2.
Right at the end of the period.
Right at the end of the period. Again, we say this all the time, Kevin. If you can score those points at the end of the period, it's outstanding because it sets you up for better success in later periods. So we're on neutral here on mat 2.
And mat number 1, Trent Walker scoring a takedown to make it 6-2 at 126 pounds.
So Montalongo working a bit of a Russian tie on the left-hand side. Doesn't have good head position. Smizer posting on the head. That's a dangerous place to be because you can set yourself up for a double leg there. Smizer working into an underhook on the right-hand side. So neutral is really all about dominating position, creating angles where you can get those shots, hand fighting, getting your opponent out of position. If you can get your opponent out of position, you can take your shot and finish. So Montalongo again working that Russian on the left-hand side. Even if he doesn't do anything with it, it's a good stall tactic, and you can burn a lot of time by tying up a guy's arms.
I talked to Coach Mensler before the action started today, and he said that Carl Schindeldecker is not wrestling today. Carl Schindeldecker is at home. Coach Mensler said that anytime his wrestlers experience any kind of symptoms, go ahead, Dave, take the call.
Yeah, that was a beautiful outside single on the left-hand side, transitioned to a quick little double, and was able to finish that. That was a nice takedown. Kevin, you and I have talked about this before. When we take shots, we got to keep moving and finish. If you stop, that's when your opponent is able to defend you and potentially stop your shot or counter and score. Smizer did a great job there, taking the shot and immediately finishing. And so his opponent had little time to react. And I believe we saw this on Tuesday night as well. When Smizer took that shot, he transitioned right to that cross-arm tilt, which he did here again. Didn't quite get the back points, but again, just not stopping your motion.
And he also got a stall call at the end of that period. So Smizer's up 6-2 to start the third period, with also a stall call in his pocket. As I was saying, I talked to Coach Mensler before the match, and Carl Schindeldecker, he's not having him wrestle today. Coach Mensler is having his wrestlers stay home if they're experiencing any kind of symptoms, again, to help stay with the safety protocol. So I did want to talk about Carl Schindeldecker. Carl Schindeldecker from Chambersburg, unfortunately, he's not here. He's a junior. He was coming in 7-0, 32-9 last year. His freshman year, Carl Schindeldecker took third in the PIAA state tournament. And I researched his record. He went into that PIAA state tournament 19-10 and walked away with a bronze medal. So kudos to Carl Schindeldecker. And he's has a career record of 63-20.
So for our fans, what Smizer just did there, he's just faking shot on the left-hand side and then coming back with a reshot on the right-hand side. He's getting his opponent to react to that fake shot, and then he's able to get in on that reshot. Now, his opponent did a nice job of hitting that funk roll again, but that was a really nice setup on Smizer's part. He's able to fight off the funk roll. We have another great scramble on both wrestlers' parts, so no points awarded, but just a demonstration of some solid technique there.
And on mat number 2, we have Trent Walker up 15-6 over his opponent to start the third period. And we are starting neutral here in the third. Oh, Smizer shot.
Quick little arm drag on the left-hand side. So when we talk about hand fighting, Smizer doing a nice job with his setups. And I mentioned those earlier. Transition from that little arm drag to a single leg to a double leg and is able to finish that takedown. Really, Smizer demonstrating some good technique.
Now he's riding legs. He's hooked that arm.
I love the setups, Kevin. The setups are huge. He's not just taking straight shots. He's working the angles. He's hand fighting. He's getting his opponent out of position, and he is dominating position. So now on top, he's working a leg. He's hooked the far arm. Sometimes guys work a tilt from there. Now he's got himself in dangerous position.
Nice reversal by Montalongo.
Right at the end of the period again, he's going to score 2 and 3.
Oh, we're at 9-9 heading in. We're going to overtime.
9-7. It looked like it finished 9-7.
Oh, 9-7.
Yep, so the reversal had already been awarded, so the match ends 9-7. Smizer got himself into a very dangerous position there right at the end of the mat, but ultimately fights it off and pulls out the win.
My apologies,
Next up
folks.
for the Rockets, we have Ivan Vega, very explosive wrestler.
126, Chambersburg, Luke Menser, Spring Grove, Ivan.
And that is Ivan Vega from Spring Grove versus Luke Menser from Chambersburg. Luke Menser is the son of Coach Mensler from the Trojans.
So that was a technical violation on the part of Ivan Vega. He actually figure forward his opponent's head, which is an illegal move. Menser, it looks like, has a nice little single. I'm not sure if he was working low single on the right-hand side. Vega wants to go back to that double leg. And there's that low single again to the right-hand side. Vega attacking that back ankle, trying to keep pressure down on his opponent's head. Now he's looking to scramble.
Luke Menser is bringing in, he's a sophomore this year, bringing in a 7-0 record.
official call stalemate, so we're back neutral again. So it looks like this is a pretty evenly matched bout, and unfortunately Vega gave up that 1 point technical violation at the beginning here, and in a close match like this, that can be a game changer. Both wrestlers bringing the action, trying to get their opponent out of position. Nice little shrug by Menser. Menser just a little quicker on the offense right now. Vega's got to really work to get him out of position. Vega with his own little shrug and reshot. He was going double, transitioned to a single on the left-hand side. Right at the edge of the mat, he's got to work his opponent back to the center, but he couldn't. So we're still neutral. So both wrestlers bringing the offense here in the first period. 30 seconds left. I think in a minute and a half, we've seen about 8 different shots. Love the action that we're seeing.
And on mat number 2, we have Howard from the Indians versus Pentsinis from Carlisle. And 2 seconds left between Vega and Mensler. Springer for the choice. They will defer. And Mensler will choose bottom to start the second period, up 1-0 and 6-0 team score in favor of the Rockets over Chambersburg 6-0. A lot of action in this match between Vega and Mensler.
Vega doing a nice job with that cross-arm tilt. Mensler doing a nice job getting out of it. If Vega could get some back points here, that would be huge. He's working bar on the left-hand side. Looks like he might be trying to work bar half here. Mensler looking to step over.
And a little bit about Mensler. So I asked Coach Mensler about Luke's fall over Matt Repos from Central Dolphin. Now, Matt Repos, PIAA 4th place finisher last year, and I asked him about that defeat. And he said Luke was down 11-4, third period, and he just hit an elevator and pinned Repos. So a high-risk move, but he was able to hit it against such a tough wrestler in Matt Repos. And, man, some action
And that was
here.
a nice little exchange there. So Mensler ended up getting one neutral on a Granby roll, and right away Vega reattacked with a double leg and got the takedown and tied the match. So we went from Vega down 1-0 to tied 2-2. So while it looked like that was going to be advantage for Mensler, Vega capitalized, didn't stop bringing the action, and immediately countered with that double and scored. Great job. Love the action in this match.
Yeah, yes, I think with how much action is going on in this match, I don't think I'm going to be able to talk about as much backstory because there's just too much to call right now. And Vega has a bar sunk in on the left side.
Mensler just staying in good position, keeping a strong base, making it hard for Vega to get him into a position where he can put him on his back. Vega's got to be careful here that he doesn't get called for a stall. He's got bar. He does a nice little back trip there. Gets his opponent flat in the mat, which is good. Short time here with about 30 seconds left. The official warning Vega to be careful with the arm. Vega working the snow plow into the arm bar. And potentially dangerous again.
Unfortunate call.
Left.
Unfortunate call, 20 seconds left because Vega's got to keep Mensler down to finish this period because Vega's going to have choice to start the third period.
Yeah, we can't let Mensler score a point this period. Vega understands that. He understands the position he's in. He's a smart wrestler. He's got some experience. Mensler trying to Granby, goes to another roll. He gets the point. So that was huge on Mensler's part. Vega has to be smart here. Doesn't want to give up a cheap takedown in the last few seconds.
Looks like he tried to
Tries
dump.
to work dump on the far side. He's got single locked up, but not enough time.
And that potentially dangerous call at the end of the second period was huge because that was able to give Mensler a fresh start because Ivan Vega was looking to work a bar and had his opponent flat on his belly. Tough to work up with 20 seconds left. But now we're going to start third period. Vega chooses down. Match score in favor of Mensler, 3-2.
So Vega knows he needs to get 1 point here. Vega has the only takedown of the match. So we're tied 3-3, a minute 45 left. Vega, I believe, has advantage on his feet, although Mensler's been in quite a few times. These guys are so evenly matched. This one could go either way, Kevin.
And just bring everybody up to speed on mat number 2. Pentasinis is losing to Howard, 8-4 on mat number 2. With 10 seconds left.
Vega maintaining good position. He's got elbow control on the right-hand side. He's allowing his opponent to have inside control, but he hits the throw. Does he get it? He's not in good position. But it looks like we're out of the mat. No points awarded. Great exchange.
Mensler, his feet did not touch the mat when they were going out of bounds. That's why he was not awarded those 2 points.
Vega likes to go up top, Kevin. I know he's got a great gator roll. He's pinned quite a few wrestlers with that this year. That was a huge move for the Dallastown duel match. Now he's taking a double leg from an outside. Like to see him clear arms there. There he goes. He gets past the arms. Mensler trying to hit the hip whip and step over. Vega does a nice job keeping in good position there. He's up 5-3 with 30 seconds left. Brings his opponent back to the mat. I'd like to see him just cut him here, Kevin. He can't give up the 2. And he does. That's 2 reversal. So we're tied 5-5, 23 seconds left. Vega has to get off the bottom. During this period, I think he got off the bottom in about 15 seconds. If he can repeat that, he could pull this out.
And Mensler, he's putting him neutral.
So he gave him neutral, so Vega up 6-5. Got to wrestle smart here. He has not been called for stalling. And this is one of those situations where, while I love to see action in offensive wrestling, he doesn't need to give up a takedown here. He needs to maintain good position and get that win for the team.
Mensler has such an arsenal. He needs to back away. He cannot tie up with Mensler. I would back away. Mensler is so tough, such an arsenal, such a good wrestler. 8 seconds up with the sprawl.
5 seconds left. Mensler working that throw by, that drag. No points awarded. And Vega pulls it out 6-5. What a great match.
What a win.
Any fan of wrestling appreciated that match. Great job to both wrestlers.
Even though wrestlers aren't supposed to be shaking hands, they wanted to go back and do a fist bump after that match. That was a great match.
And next up for the Rockets, Bryce Weaver. Weaver had a fall against Waynesboro. And Weaver gets a forfeit. So next up for the Rockets, looks like it's going to be Jared Baker. So the Rocket match score, the Rockets are up right now 15-0 after the first 4 bouts. So we had 3 decisions and 1 forfeit, and a forfeit is a 6-point win. And it actually looks like it's going to be, I believe that is Luke Smizer from the Rockets. And as we mentioned earlier, Luke is one of the freshmen that's been brought up to wrestle this year. He has seen some varsity time this year. And it looks like the Chambersburg wrestler wants to go up top here, dangerous from a tie-up. Immediately try to jack Smizer up and go for that headlock.
And to bring up the speed on mat number 2, we have Rouser versus Shugart, and Rouser gets the fall, bringing the match score 13-9. 132 pounds. Howard from the Indians defeated Pentasinis. and bring that match 13-3. So we're at 13-9 on match number 2, bringing the score to, or the dual meet to, 145 pounds. And on mat number 1, Anthony Colangelo. Colangelo is a senior coming in at 7-0, and he went 18-12 last year in the 1920 wrestling season.
Colangelo, obviously a very physical wrestler, has a heavy-handed snap there. Wants to get into that tie. He's working those underhooks hard, standing Smizer up, getting in a position where Smizer does not appear to be comfortable. As I would argue that most wrestlers are not comfortable in that position. Colangelo really not looking for a shot, and he wants to throw Smizer to his back. At this point, he's working to return him to the mat.
And Chambersburg appears to be a team where a lot of the wrestlers can throw you. That seems like something they do practice a lot. The Nichter boys are good at throwing, and you saw Mensler try one, and of course Vega tried one, and Colangelo's been trying to throw.
Colangelo released Smizer and gave him a point, so the score is now 2-1. I'm guessing he's going to come up top again, which right now we're in a body lock position.
Smizer's doing a great
head and arm. Smizer's got to be careful. He's got to stay in good position. Colangelo's spinning around for the 2 points.
Smizer is doing a great job of fighting off the throws. He's doing a great job trying to stay out of those, because those throws can put you to your back and go for a fall. Doing a great job of fending that off. 10 seconds left. Colangelo on top, 4-1. Spring Grove on top, 15-0 in the team score. And he gets a tilt here at the end of the period.
So short time, and it looks like we're going to end the period 6-1 for Colangelo.
And 145 pounds on mat number 1. We have Rouser versus Wilson. End of the first period, 5-0. Rouser on top. 145-pound match.
So I know Smizer from the Rockets has a nice double leg. It really looks like he's having trouble getting past Colangelo's arms. That first layer of defense. Colangelo taking a nice low shot on the right-hand side. Not finishing in good position, though. Almost appears like he was setting that throw up. That's the position he wanted to be in. Actually, Coach Kerry Ferguson of the Papertown Pinners just showed that setup to a headlock the other night. And it looks like that's exactly what Colangelo just did. Took a straight shot as your opponent stops you and brings you up. You transition directly to a headlock, and that's what Colangelo appeared to be looking for the entire match.
And with that fall of 2 minutes, 57 seconds in the match, brings the overall team score 15-6 in favor of the Rockets.
So now coming out for the Rockets at
I believe it's 145 pounds.
145, Jared Baker, Spring Grove, receiving a forfeit.
So Jared Baker receives a forfeit at 145 pounds. And so next up for the Rockets is Caleb Bolin.
152, Chambersburg, Tyler Jones, Spring Grove, Caleb Bolin.
So Bolin will wrestle Jones from Chambersburg at 152 pounds. Bolin had a pretty exhausting match in that first dual meet against Waynesboro today that he pulled out by 2 points at the end.
And Tyler Jones from Chambersburg, he is a sophomore. He's coming in at 1-0. Again, I talked to Coach Mensler before the match started. He is missing a couple wrestlers today. Carl Schindeldecker is one of them, and Kelby Mixel is another wrestler that is missing today, another wrestler that he asked him to stay home because he is experiencing some COVID symptoms. So Coach Mensler's goal for today was just to get some good mat time for his wrestlers. He just wanted to focus on matches.
Oh, Bolin caught in a cradle right now. He has got to break that grip. This is not a good place to be. So far, no points awarded. This is an interesting position to be in here. And now the official awards the 2-point takedown. Boland's got to break that grip. Gets his head out, breaks the grip, down 0-2.
The important thing is he didn't give up any near fall points. Very tough if you start a match off 5-0. So very tough to come out of that hole that you're in. So now he gets an escape to make it 2-1. I much prefer a 2-1 score over a 5-1 score.
Boland has a nice double leg, and you, Kevin, you know I love double legs. I'd like to see him go back to that. Doesn't look like he's able to get past Jones's initial defense on his feet right now. He's not clearing hands. So we got to, again, we talk about setups, we talk about creating angles, just not getting his opponent out of position. He has transitioned now to a single on the right-hand side and has now transitioned to a double leg, just ran out of time.
Yes, while you love the double leg takedowns, I really hated being your tackling dummy in practice way back in the day. But Dave, I must say, your double leg takedown's one of the best, and it is one of the best takedowns, a double leg takedown.
All right, so Boland starts the second period on top here.
And Boland is a pinner when he's on top, so he certainly will be looking for the fall. He loves to run a half. He loves to run a bar. I'd like to see him get up on his toes, get a little bit more pressure forward. There you go.
Yeah, Jones doing a good job maintaining his base, working to his feet as we're seeing now. Now he's working hands. He's going to pop his hips away. So he was able to clear. We're now 3-1. So in neutral, as coaches talk to their wrestlers about defense, your first line of defense, your hands, you have your forearms, you also have your head as defense. And so there's a lot of different things that you can do to block your opponent. Jones doing a good job keeping his hands in front. Now Boland was able to pass by the arms. He was able to clear hands, get to that double leg that we were talking about, and finish.
And on mat number 1, we have Vittori from the Waynesboro Indians versus D'Angelo from the Carlisle Thundering Herd. And I believe the team score on that mat is 13-13.
So Jones once again doing a pretty decent job here of maintaining a strong base, preventing Boland from putting him in a position where he can get near fall. Score is tied 3-3 with 25 seconds left. Jones stepping over, creating a dangerous position.
But Boland able to maintain.
Yep, no change in position. Boland maintains control on a double leg. They're out of bounds, 11 seconds left. Score is still tied 3-3.
And the important thing is he did not give up those points there at the end. So 11 seconds left. It's important for Boland to keep his opponent down. He's got to try to break him down to his belly, get him off his base. Jones is doing a great job. Jones is able to get right up to his feet.
And as we said before, if Boland doesn't get a mat return here, he's going to give up a stall call. So he's got to be careful. Did a good job transitioning down to the legs. He was making the attempt to return his opponent to the mat, and so no stall call was awarded.
And Boland's going to choose down to start the third period. Match tied 3-3.
So again, I'd like to see an explosive first move here off the bottom. Boland goes to that short sit. He's going to work hand control here. Jones pressuring forward.
I'd like to see
for
Boland.
A cradle there. Boland isolating a hand, turning into his opponent. Looks like he could peek out here and get two, and he does.
Nice reversal. I like the Springer wrestlers love to go to the shorts. I'd like to see them get their legs at about a 90-degree
now Boland
angle.
transitioning to a tilt. So we go from a tied match to a 2-point reversal and a 3-point near fall.
So he's got his bar locked up, too.
He does have the bar locked up, and now he's coming out. He's coming to pin. And, Kevin, this goes back to what you were saying in the first period or second period maybe. Bolin is a pinner. He is looking to put guys on their back and pin them. So we went from a tied match, 3-3 hard-fought match, to a reversal, 3-point near fall, puts his opponent in a pinning position, pinning combination, and ultimately pins him. Looks like Jones might be nursing a hurt shoulder there.
And Bolin scores a fall at 4 minutes, 47 seconds of the third period, bringing the overall team score to 27-6 in favor of the Rockets.
160, Chambersburg, Ryder, Davenport, Spring Road, Isaiah Mummert.
Mummert again, great double leg from his feet. Davenport appears to be staying in a nice low position, and he is also fighting hands. Davenport brings the action first here. Looks like Mummert's going to have a nice challenge on his hands. This is going to be a fun match to watch.
And Davenport comes in. He's a junior coming up with a 6-1 record. And he went 18-14 in the 1920 season.
So Davenport, first attempt at a takedown was a double leg. Second attempt at a takedown was a high crotch left-hand side. So it looks like he has a few more tools in the arsenal here. Now he's going front head and arm. Now he's blocking the head, transition blocking the head to block the arm. He's looking to spin behind. Transitions to a front head and arm. He just keeps going from one scoring position to the next. Mummert doing a good job maintaining good position. In that position right there, he's got a watch sticking his head out there as he was setting himself up for a headlock. Davenport transitions to another high crotch on the left-hand side. He's going to be looking to free his head. Once he frees his head, that's going to be a 2-point takedown.
And we get
Actually,
some near fall.
keeps his head in and transitions to a headlock position here. Mummert in a tough spot here. Davenport's going to want to elevate the head. Ultimately works for the fall.
At 1 minute and 20 seconds of the first period.
So it looks like we're going to get a great matchup here at 170 pounds. I believe this is Nichter from Chambersburg, and we're going to have Tommy Dressler from Spring Grove. So two high-powered wrestlers.
With all due respect to Matt 2, we're going to be calling Matt 1. You have two state-ranked kids wrestling in a duel. Usually in dual meets, you don't see these kinds of matches. Usually coaches will bump away. But I talked to Coach Mensler before the dual meet started, and he said he wants this match. He wants to get Nichter a match. So we're in for a real treat here.
So potentially dangerous called there. I noticed before that shot, Dressler really stepping hard with his right foot. He's going to have to watch that because it looks like Nichter has a nice low single on the left-hand side.
Yeah, by the way, of a pause in the action, a little bit about Tate Nichter. He is a senior coming up with a 5-0 record. He is already a 100-match winner in his career. During his sophomore campaign, he placed 6th in the state, and last year he placed 5th in the District 3 tournament, and he also qualified for states his freshman year. Nichter has already signed to wrestle with your alma mater, Dave, the Drexler Dragons, out in Philadelphia to wrestle with his
Dragons, all right.
to wrestle with his brother.
Dragon. Very cool.
Yep, he signed with Drexel to wrestle with his brother Luke Nichter, state champion from last year.
Drexel now has Matt Azevedo as their head coach. Azevedo was an All-American for, I believe, Arizona State, so a very top-tier wrestler. Doing a lot of great things with the program and recruiting some really tough kids. And the Nichter boys are certainly tough kids.
It's a shame he wasn't able to hold on to DeSanto from Exeter.
So right there you saw Dressler hit a quick little drag, and he just used that drag as a setup for his shot. He is in deep right now. Nichter doing a good job keeping Dressler's head trapped. Dressler trying to free his head and put Nichter in a dangerous position. He pops his head out here. He's going to get that too, which is exactly what happened. Really nice little hand fighting technique. Just got Nichter out of position just a little bit, and that's all you need when you're wrestling at this caliber.
And Tommy Dressler is signed on to wrestle with Lockhaven next year.
Short time here. Nichter looking to get 1 point. Dressler looking to hold on. Very short time. Oh, and he got the one right before the buzzer. So 2-1 the first period. And really, Kevin, when you get to your high-powered wrestlers, the guys that are going to that Division I level, the matches become a game of inches. Any little misstep can result in points for your opponent.
And Dressler able to break Nichter down to his belly, and looks like he was trying to work bar. Nichter is able to free his left arm. Dressler working a tight waist. Dressler is such a strong wrestler. He's one of those wrestlers where he works that tight waist on you. He can really, really squeeze the air out of you.
It doesn't look like he had that tight waist real deep. Nichter doing a good job staying in good position. Dressler trying to work that leg in on the right-hand side. Looks like he's gotten his leg trapped the whole way across the body right now and is working that power half really, really tough right now. That is an uncomfortable position for Nichter to be in. Legs is if you can be a good leg rider, you can burn a lot of time on the clock and you can really, really wear your opponent down. So Dressler able to get that leg in again on the right-hand side, while Nichter is maintaining a good base on bottom there, making it difficult for Dressler to turn him. He is not working to get off bottom right now. He's really just working to stay off his back. Nichter, if he, obviously he wants to win this match, he's got to work to get off the bottom here. So stalemate position, so he's going to get a restart, and this is really what he needed. So Dressler's going to have to make sure he's pressuring forward. Nichter had a nice explosive stand-up, making it difficult for Dressler. He was able to kick free, and he got that point. So that stalemate call, and Kevin, that happened in an earlier match. That stalemate call, which allowed for the restart, really worked to the advantage of the bottom man.
14 seconds left in the third period.
Dressler again tried to go back to that short little drag. Short time left here, about 5 seconds. Neither opponent really looking to shoot right now. So we're going to go into the third period. Dressler is going to get choice. He's going down. Coach Conover encouraging Dressler, letting him know you got to keep wrestling. So Nichter is going to looks like Nichter is going to an optional start. So most times when guys go to an optional start, they're going to let their opponent go, which is what he does here. Dressler being smart about how he comes up and away to make sure he's not getting taken down immediately with a reshot. So Dressler up 3-1. Minute 45 left.
And with the optional start, the wrestler must show the referee that he is going optional start, and then the referee communicates that to the bottom wrestler. If the wrestler attempts to do an optional start but does not communicate that to the official, then it becomes a caution.
And the official stops the match for a mask. So Dressler really reaching to the top of the head, just trying to make Nichter uncomfortable on his feet. Nichter seems like he's trying to close the distance here. Likes to shoot from a tie-up. Dressler takes a quick shot to the left. Nichter counters, works to that underhook on the left-hand side. And now both wrestlers have the same tie there. Dressler working underhook on the left-hand side now.
And considering Dressler's in the lead 3-2, he doesn't need to take any unnecessary shots or unnecessary risks. He can let. There's a good shot, good straight on shot. He's got to finish.
I'll call it an okay shot. He shot his double leg and got his head trapped inside. Now he's doing a good job of trapping that down leg. And once again, he's going to work to peek his head out. Nichter really hoping to get a stalemate in a position like this, because he was in a difficult position sitting on your butt. Tommy did a good job working his head out then to get that too. If we're going to call that a good shot, Kevin, I want to see your head on the outside on a double leg.
A good time. Even if you would have gotten a stalemate, it wasted a lot of time. There's a lot of scrambling on that mat. And Tommy Dressler scores a victory over Tate Nichter, 5-2. Again, 2 state-ranked kids. Again, in dual meets, you normally don't see a match of that quality, so of 2 quality wrestlers like that.
Well, and I'll say, Kevin, I think both of those wrestlers, especially given the fact that they're not getting a ton of matches this year, appreciate the opportunity to wrestle. They want to make sure that they're getting great competition as they head into the postseason. So Conover wrestling 189 pounds, wrestling a very tall opponent here who, again, wants to go up top. It looks like Chambersburg's training a lot, as you had mentioned earlier, Kevin, on the upper body and the throws.
And so we have T. Conover from Spring Grove wrestling Aiden Height. He is a freshman from Chambersburg, and he's coming in with a 3-2 record.
So Conover, nice little outside single on the right-hand side. He's circling around behind. Coach is coaching him to table that knee. Height doing a nice job spinning through there.
Oh,
coming around behind for that takedown. And now he's going that cross wrist tilt. So, Kevin, again, going back to what we've talked about with takedowns, Teague took a nice single leg shot to the outside there, but stopped when he was on the mat, which gave Height the opportunity to counter, which is what happened there. Now, Conover did a nice job working to his feet. Let's see if he goes back to that single and finishes immediately.
And to bring up the speed on mat number 2, 152 pounds, D'Angelo from the Thundering Herd, Decision Batur, to bring the match score 16-13. 160 pounds, Smith by fall over Mong to bring the match score 22-13. 172 pounds, Carlisle received the forfeit to bring the match score 28-13. And we're at 189 pounds, Colton Zimmerman, who is on top with the Thundering Herd. He's on top of his match 6-1, looking for the fall. And he is wrestling Shorn from Waynesboro. And Conover takes a shot at the end of the period to try to score a takedown. And there goes Height. He's going with upper body again. 3 seconds left. Conover's got to fight off a takedown at the end of the period. And he's...
Saved by the bell there, Kevin. Saved by the bell.
And also, Height he ran him out of bounds. Even if he would have hit it within the time period, it didn't land in the middle of the mat. We're going neutral to start the second period. Height on top, 2-1 of Conover. Team score, Springer Rockets 30, Chambersburg Trojans 12.
So another scramble here at the edge of the mat. No points awarded. Score is still 2-1.
A little cross-body shot by Conover.
So Conover took a straight shot there and didn't really step deep. And so his opponent was able to sprawl and stretch him out. He's in a tough spot here. He's really got to work to get back to his feet and get out of that position, back away from that position.
And on mat number 2, we have Ditch from the Waynesboro Indians versus Malik Miller from the Carlisle Thundering Herd at 215 pounds. And stalemate on mat number 1.
For those of you watching at home, what's happening here is as Conover's taking his shot, rather than stepping through, he's dropping to a knee, and he's getting himself extended. And so what happened there is, as he got himself extended and he popped back up, his opponent hit him with a head chancellor and put him on his back. So
nice
beautiful bridge by Conover. Here at the edge of the mat, though, he's in bounds, and Height has the far arm locked up there. Conover, a big, strong kid, but this is a tough spot to be.
Oh,
Excellent
way to fight
effort.
off his back.
Excellent effort on Conover's part, fighting off his back there.
Now, wrestling is a sport where it's not only what you do, but how you react to your opponents. And you see the Height from Chambersburg took what was given to him, and he took what Conover did with his bad shot and was able to score a 5-point move and almost scored a fall.
So 7-1 here in the third period. 2 minutes to go. Teague's got to be looking for a big move here. He is down 6 points. I don't see him having quite enough time to recoup all those points with a taken down and let him up strategy.
I'd like to see him maybe try to take maybe just another shot, a couple more shots, because it seems like Hick is very good in the upper body there. He tried to shrug. Again, using Conover's momentum against him to try the shrug. And on mat number 1, Malik Miller scored a fall in 215 pounds, and Leighton Schmick from Carlisle is looking to do the same, score another fall over his opponent.
So Height working a Russian arm tie on the right-hand side there. Teague posting on his head, keeping distance. Teague just can't seem to get past Height's hands at this point. We talked about that earlier, that hand fighting, getting your opponent out of position, creating angles. It's very important when you're taking those shots. So he attempted a little rush in there, a little pass by with a shot. Height immediately takes a reshot. I got to give Height credit. He's doing a nice job capitalizing on the moves that Teague's trying here, and he ends up scoring off of those attempts.
Now, 23 seconds left. Conover's got to try to score at least one play. He's got to try to get an escape, because now Chambersburg's going to score a potential bonus point here with a major decision. Conover's got to try to escape. Peterson, he's able to get the escape.
Able to get one, so 8 seconds left here. He's got to avoid giving up a takedown or get one of his own, and it looks like Height's not going to do a whole lot. And so he's going to be satisfied with a regular decision there.
And with that decision by Height from Chambersburg, brings a team score 30-15. Heading into the 215-pound weight class.
So for the Rockets, we have Logan Herbst, Jr.
And for Chambersburg, we have Ethan Fatal. He is a sophomore at 4-1 versus junior Logan Herbst.
Herbst just took a really nice outside single. That's the first time I've seen that from him this year. I'd like to see him drop down to that ankle, step back. He's got to step back, clear that leg out in front. There he goes. And now we got to bring him back into the center of the mat. It looks like Fatal might try and do a little roll here, but Herbst elevates the leg. Right now, I'd like to just see him attack the hips. He doesn't need to keep kicking at the legs as he's gotten his opponent. There he goes, whips his opponent forward, attacks the hip, and gets the 2 points. That was a really nice takedown by Logan Herbst there. Just demonstration of his athleticism at that 215-pound weight class. So he's working hand control on top, keeping pressure on the top man. I'd like to see him drive forward a little bit and keep weight on the hands of his opponent. There he uses his hips and his legs to drive forward. Looks like he's trying to work to get that far arm. And Herbst throwing a leg in? Is that what I'm seeing right now, Kevin? Nope. Folks, it's hard to see from this angle.
I know when we were doing the Southwestern match the other night, we at least had a projection up on the big board in the back, so we were able to see some angles we couldn't normally see from where we were at. And with the escape, makes it 2-1. Herbst on top with 23 seconds left. And to bring you up to speed on mat number 2, that match is over.
Herbst again went for that outside single. Didn't create quite the same amount of motion that time. Didn't quite get his opponent out of position, but is able to recover and not give up a takedown on a counter. Herbst working a Russian arm tie. I'd like to see his head position change. When you get that Russian arm tie, you really want to put your forehead in the ear of your opponent on the same side that you have that Russian arm tie. That gives you more control of your opponent and more opportunities to score from that position.
And Logan Herbst had choice. He deferred to start the second period. And Ethan Fatal, he chose bottom to start the second period. Logan Herbst on top, 2-1. And he's working bar left side.
So he's got the bar locked up. Now he's letting Fatal come to his base a little bit, but Herbst giving good pressure on that shoulder, and he does get the near points. Fatal looking to step over, but Herbst counters and switches to a half Nelson. He's got his opponent in a dangerous position right here. He's going to elevate that head, really sink it deep, and now he's taking it over nice and slow. Looks like he's going to get the fall.
And the fall at 2 minutes and 38 seconds for Herbst.
So it looks like the Rockets have 2 wrestlers getting ready to come out at heavyweight. One, either Jeff Borman or Mike Hershey, and it looks like they're sending Jeff Borman for the Rockets. And because Chambersburg is forfeiting at 106 pounds, this will be the last bout of this dual match.
And for Chambersburg, Avery Coons, he is a sophomore coming with a 1-1 record, and Jeff Borman is a junior coming in with a 4-1 record on this season. Now, as we said with wrestling, coaches will shuffle their lineups. And there's been quite a few times when Borman's gotten bumped out of the lineup because of matchups down below with Dressler and Conover. And that's where Coach Teague, or Tyke Conover, sometimes he has to make that tough decision to bump a wrestler out of a lineup.
That said, when Borman's been in the lineup, he's been very dependable. Right there, he just worked a nice, really kind of a standing headlock position. He had his opponent's head and arm, used it to shrug by his opponent. Just kind of a simple takedown, and was able to get around behind his opponent, drive him to the mat, and get that 2 points. Now he's doing a good job driving forward, keeping his opponent from getting to his feet. He's attacking that far arm, and Borman, if you recall from the last match, used that far arm to turn his opponent. If he can get that arm up above the elbow, he gets that pressure down on that shoulder right there. He's going to circle around the head. Looks like he's got a 2 count held. He's got that elbow above there. He's got that arm above the elbow, and now he's circling around the head. If he keeps this up, he's going to work to that fall. Looks like coaches are telling him to readjust, go to the half, which is what he does. Now he's got a reverse half, but his opponent's doing a nice job of getting off his back here. Borman's got to be careful he doesn't get rolled over here. Now he's on top. He's lacing the legs. I'd like to see him get perpendicular here and get a little more pressure on his opponent's chest.
And with that 3 near fall, bringing this match score to 5-0 in favor of Jeff Borman. Chambersburg with choice will go neutral. And while we wait for mat number 1 to get underway, the final score on mat number 2. Carlisle Thundering Herd over the Waynesboro Indians, 46-19.
So Borman goes back to that head and arm. Not sure if he's going to go with the headlock or if he's going to pass him by. Looks like he goes with a kind of a reverse headlock. Throws his opponent to his back. A lot of time left. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get the fall here. He's readjusting to a half. Elevating the head.
Kuhn is coming in weighing 237 pounds, and Borman, I believe, weighs in the 280 range. That's tough to fight off your back when you're being outweighed by almost 50 pounds.
So Borman does a nice job getting the fall there. We should have a forfeit at 106 pounds. And so it looks like the dual match may end 48-15 as Tanner Grimm gets the forfeit at 106 pounds. So the Rockets and the Thundering Herd from Carlisle really set up for kind of a finals match in this quad meet, as both teams won their first two dual matches handily. And this should be a really nice matchup here for the third match of the day.
And your match summary between Spring Grove and Chambersburg. 113 pounds, Snyder from Spring Grove. Decision Carter, 8-2. Started off 3-0 for the Rockets at 120 pounds. Heath Smizer. Decision Montelengro from Chambersburg, 9-7, bring the match score to 6-0. At 126 pounds, Ivan Vega scored a very, very tough, hard-fought victory against Luke Mentzler, 6-5, to bring the match score 9-0. Bryce Weaver received a forfeit at 132 pounds, 15-0 in favor of the Rockets. 138 pounds, Colangelo wins by fall over Luke Smizer at 2 minutes 57 seconds. 15-6, dual meet score. 145 pounds, Jared Baker receives a forfeit, 21-6 for the Rockets. 152 pounds, Caleb Bolin pinned his opponent, Jones from Chambersburg. 4 minutes 47 seconds, 27-6 match score. 160 pounds, Ryder Davenport pinned Nizy Mummert at 1 minute and 20 seconds for 27-12 match score. 172 pounds, a very, very big featured match. Tommy Dressler scored a 5-2 decision over Tate Nichter, 5-2, bring the match score 30-12. 189 pounds, Aiden Height over T. Conover, 9-2, 30-15 match score. 215 pounds, Logan Herbst wins by fall at 2 minutes 38 seconds over Fatal, 36-15. 285 pounds, Jeffrey Borman wins by fall at 2 minutes 52 seconds over Avery Coons, 42-15. And 106 pounds, Tanner Grimm received a forfeit, 48-15.
And Kevin, while we're watching here during the intermission, I got to give a shout out to Mrs. Rhonda Priest. She is the head custodian at Spring Grove Area High School. She's down there fogging our mats and sanitizing them for the student athletes. Rhonda and her crew do a phenomenal job with our facilities. We've been in this building, I believe we are in our 12th or 13th year now, and this building really looks brand new. And that is to the credit of the individuals that are caring for our building. Rhonda and her team are outstanding, and they're just outstanding members of the Rocket community. So thank you to Rhonda and her team. So just a quick update. After the match, I saw the wrestlers from Chambersburg giving a long black box to the coaches of the Rockets. And it's actually the belt from the Route 30 Rumble. And so last year, as Kevin had mentioned before the match, Chambersburg beat Spring Grove. And now that Spring Grove has beaten Chambersburg, they've returned the belt. So just a really neat gesture and just a cool little rivalry that's developing there. And just another one of the things that we love about this sport, it's a sport of families. Once you're a wrestler, you're always a wrestler, and we're always connected in that way. And it's just neat to see gestures like that. And it's just a demonstration of the respect that these coaches and student athletes have for each other.
It is certainly a brotherhood, Dave. It is a brotherhood to be a wrestler. Okay, so while we are paused between rounds, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a preview of our next match between Spring Grove and Chambersburg on mat 1, which will be essentially for first place for the Rocket Duels for the day. The Carlisle Thundering Herd will bring in an 8-2 record into the final match, and Spring Grove will bring in a 9-1 record to the final match. Last year, these two teams split their duel meets. The first one being in the first Rocket Duels last year in the first weekend of the season. Spring Grove scoring a 36-30 victory over Carlisle. 1 month later in January, the Carlisle Thundering Herd
Next round will begin at 10:40. 10:40.
and in the second time, the rematch between the Spring Grove and Thundering Herd. Well, Thundering Herd thundered back in that match to win a 46-18 dual meet victory over the Spring Grove Rockets at the Garnet Valley Duels. We will pause the action. The final round of the day will begin at 10:40. 10:40, fans, go grab yourself some breakfast, go grab yourself another cup of coffee, and sit down. We're going to have a good match on mat number 1 between the Spring Grove Rockets and the Thundering Herd from Carlisle.
Coaches and wrestlers, let's report to your mats for round 3. We are wrestling for Battle of the Belt on mat 1. Spring Grove versus Carlisle. You're coming home with our traveling trophy. You'll have your belt in your hands. And the consolation match is Chambersburg and Waynesboro. Good luck to all wrestlers, and let's start round 3 when coaches and officials are ready.
And welcome back to the action with SG Live's broadcast of the Rocket Duels. I am your host, Kevin Paulus, alongside with me, my broadcast partner, David Dietrich. Hi, Dave.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for returning as we watch the final duel match of the afternoon here of the morning. The Spring Grove Rockets against the Carlisle Thundering Herd. And I got to make a correction to something I had said earlier. I had incorrectly stated that Chambersburg had given Spring Grove the traveling belt for the Route 30 Rumble, and it's actually going to be awarded to the winner of this dual match between Spring Grove and Carlisle. So starting at 120 pounds, Heath Smizer from Spring Grove.
And he is wrestling Asmir Ibrahim from Carlisle.
Both wrestlers, I believe, 2-0 on the day. And so, just like the teams, they're coming into this match undefeated. And so somebody's going to come away here with the win for their team.
And last year, Spring Grove and Carlisle split their duels 1-1. Spring Grove got the best of Carlisle last year in the first weekend of the season, and then later on in the season, Carlisle got the better of Spring Grove in a rematch of their duels.
So nice outside single attempt there by Carlisle. Smizer gets the quarter Nelson, is able to fend it off.
And it's important for Spring Grove to get off to a good start, because once Carlisle gets some momentum going, they don't stop. They have a very deep lineup from 113 all the way up. Not too many spots in their lineup where you can count on bonus points. And they also have some state caliber wrestlers in their lineups as well.
So official Bob Gano called a stalemate there, which restarted the action. Smizer again with a little fake shot to the left-hand side and goes to a reshot on the right. Gets in deep, is able to step over the leg. Here he's got to pop that head out and turn into his opponent. He's whizzering the leg on the left-hand side there. Drives forward, gets the 2 points. Right away his opponent comes to his feet. Does a nice job bouncing up there, working for that escape. Smizer recognizes that he only has 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds to hold on to his opponent. Does a really great job controlling that leg. He's got 3 seconds left. Holds his opponent down. Great job by Smizer. Some heads-up wrestling there. And really great job to his opponent for the nonstop action there.
Ibrahim is a very, very physical and tough wrestler. He never stops pressing the action. I talked to Coach Wilson from Carlisle, and he said Asmir has college aspirations. I believe he is signed to wrestle at Lackawanna College. And Bob Gano is checking. We have blood time on Heath Smizer from Spring Grove.
All right, and Smizer chose neutral for the second period, so the coaches must have some intel that the opponent from Carlisle is pretty tough on top. And so Smizer goes neutral, and now we are actually having blood time. Looks like Smizer's bleeding from his lip.
I believe Asmir, he's a tough wrestler on top with legs. He's got those long legs. He can wrap you up. Last year, Sam Meyer defeated Asmir in the first Rocket Duels, and then in the second match between Spring Grove and Carlisle, Asmir got the better of Braxton Rice.
So Asmir pretty high in his stance. Getting a little lower now, working that shot. Smizer working that quarter Nelson again, goes to a front head and arm. Really snapping Asmir down.
Yeah, Asmir is a very, very physical wrestler.
It was a nice exchange there.
Heath Smizer has to match Asmir's intensity. Asmir is a senior, coming into this match at 7-1. Last year in the 1920 season, he went 24-13. And we have Smizer on top 2-0. 1 minute 13 seconds left in.
Oh, that was a nice little slide-by attempt by Asmir. Actually penetrated too far. Smizer was able to step through and spin behind there to counter. And now we're back into that front head and arm position. Smizer pretty tough from this position.
A little flurry left me speechless. And again, 2-0, 50 seconds left in the second period. Smizer on top 2-0. To start the duel meet at 120 pounds.
Smizer had a lot of success with that little fake shot, reshot. I'd like to see him go back to that. He has been highly successful with that all day today. Asmir circled to the left there to create that angle and then came back to the right-hand side with an outside single. Smizer doing a nice job whizzing down hard, putting a lot of pressure. Asmir does a nice job elevating the leg. Smizer's really got to break that grip and get that foot back on the mat. Oh, and another great scramble. I'm not even sure what to say about that, Kevin. It looked like Asmir tried to do a little trip there, ended up getting his hips down too far, and Smizer able to capitalize on his poor position. So Smizer just wrestling a slightly cleaner match right now than Asmir, and that 2 points at the end of that period was huge. So Asmir chooses bottom.
And
So
Smizer.
Go ahead.
Smizer up 4-0 to start the third period. Very important for Smizer to wrestle smart, stay behind Asmir. Do not, and Asmir, if I remember from last year, he is a roller. He tries Granbys. He's he can be very unorthodox. So Smizer needs to wrestle smart, needs to stay in good position.
Smizer doing a good job keeping his hips on the mat. He's pressuring forward. It looks like he's working to try and get that hand underneath the arm for a half Nelson. Asmir building his base. Really kind of turtling up right now, looking to control Smizer's hands as they come in. He's not allowing Smizer to really get that hand control, and then Smizer ultimately does get that right wrist and working for that cross wrist tilt.
It's almost like Asmir felt it coming, and when he felt Smizer go for the roll, Asmir himself threw his hips as well, so there would be no way Smizer could catch Asmir perpendicular and try to catch him to get those near fall points.
Yeah, Kevin, it looked like he used the momentum, continued the roll. Now Smizer has switched to the tight waist on the left-hand side, really kind of sucking the life out of your opponent, and he's working what appears to be a claw ride on the right-hand side, circling his opponent to the mat, really doing a nice job of driving forward, keeping his opponent pressured down to the mat. So we're about 1 minute 10 seconds into the third period. Smizer still has that 4-0 lead. Asmir turns in, attempts to face his opponent. Smizer holding on to a double leg. Got to be careful here when you have a guy who likes to roll, as Kevin said. So right now he's in kind of a tough position underneath here. Wants to maintain good position. Also needs to pay attention where he is on the mat. So 20 seconds left. Smizer in on a low single. He's peeking out the back. This is burning a ton of time off the clock, which is great for Smizer. So that's Smizer's first stall warning with 13 seconds left, Kevin. If I'm Smizer, I'm staying under the arms, pressuring forward. I'm going to keep my opponent down. I'm not worried about scoring any more points at this point. I'm worried about controlling my opponent and winning the match for the team.
Yeah, Asmir is very dangerous from the referee's position, so Smizer's got to try to pressure him forward, got to try to get him down on his belly, try to get him flat. Last I checked, you cannot perform a roll from your belly, so it's very important for Smizer to get a good first move, and you see Asmir had a nice first move getting out.
Very explosive off the whistle there, looking to throw Smizer to his back. Smizer doing a great job keeping his hips facing the mat. That was huge there. You don't want to roll across your back, and he prevented that by forcing his hips facing the mat. So excellent effort by Smizer there. Really a great day of wrestling for him.
And Smizer scoring the 4-0 decision over Asmir Ibrahim from Carlisle. Starting the match off at 3-0 for the Rockets.
And Ivan Vega for the Rockets comes out. He is also 2-0 on the day. Wrestled a really tough match in that bout against Chambersburg and came away with the win against Menser. Not sure about his opponent here. Kevin, give us a little background.
And it looks like a Thundering Herd are going to be bumping their lineup. Normally it is Trent Walker at 126, but it is sophomore Caleb Hippensteel going against Ivan Vega. It looks like a Thundering Herd. Looks like they're going to shuffle their lineup and try to go for just a point trade. That's
right, there's
what
that
looking
gator
for.
roll, Kevin, that we talked about so many times with Vega. Does a nice job with that gator roll. Now this time he got the 2 points and ended up not putting his opponent on his back, but he ends up with that arm bar on the right-hand side and wrist control, so he's looking to work that right now.
I was really looking forward to Vega versus Walker. That would have been one heck of a physical match.
Vega's got that cross wrist tilt right now. He's going to be getting 3 back points for this. So as he releases this move, so he's going to have to show the official his hands that he's broken grip. Once he does that, now he gets awarded the 3 back points. He's going back to that cross wrist tilt. Actually, no, I take that back. It looks like he has a reinforced bar at this point.
Looks like he's trying to come backside with that bar.
That was always a tough turn for me, Kevin, because it's just such a tight move. It's hard to move in there. I don't have really long arms either.
Yeah, we're both we're on the compact side. We were blessed with certain things, Dave, but length and height was not one of them.
It looks like Vega's gotten some more back points here once he releases that move. Although he is going for the fall here, he's not worried about releasing the move for the back points.
And Vega
Gets
scores
the
the fall.
A minute 42 seconds into the first period, and that's great that he earns those 16 points for the Rockets. Next up for the Rockets, Bryce Weaver. And he is going to have his hands full here.
Again, it looks like it'll be Trent Walker, and Trent Walker is a very, very physical wrestler. He brings the noise. He is another wrestler, always in your face, always moving, very physical, very tough wrestler. So Weaver's going to have to wrestle his best match, and he's going to have to equal Walker's physicality.
Well, Weaver does a really nice job slowing people down. He has great leg defense, or neutral defense. He has a good outside single to the right-hand side. I would predict in this match we're going to see more of a defensive posture and scoring from a defensive position from Bryce. He does a really nice job with that position.
And Trent Walker lost a tough match to Matt Repos from Central Dauphin 7-3. Now, why is that significant? Matt Repos was a 4th place finisher from last year, PIAA 4th in the state. And Walker, I mean, to only lose to a wrestler like that 7-3, that tells us that Walker has some arsenal in him, and he can wrestle. He's a tough wrestler. But right now we're at 1:09 left in the first period, 0-0.
Kind of looks like both wrestlers are trying to just get a feel for the other wrestler. Weaver took a shot on the right-hand side, didn't step quite as deep as I think he would have liked. Walker had a similar attempt. Neither one really ready to commit on their offense yet, and both really kind of just taking more of a defensive posture in this match here. But once again, Weaver does a good job staying in position and slowing his opponent down, and I think that might be what we're seeing right now.
Now, we didn't see Walker last year in the Rocket Duels, but then at the Garnet Valley Duels in the championship match, Trent Walker defeated Alec Villarreal 13-4. And I remember scoring that match at the table, and Walker, he just dominated and broke Villarreal's confidence in that match and just had his way with him. So Bryce Weaver's doing a good job with defense. And again, not a whole lot going on right now. Like as Dave said, trying to feel each other out, see what they got. Nobody's really opened up in that match. Now these two have wrestled each other in the off season, and those matches are close. So Bryce Weaver, I mean, these two wrestlers know each other very well.
Kevin, looking at Bryce Weaver's down position, I really like how he has so much weight back on his hips. And so right away, he's pressuring back into his opponent, making it very difficult for his opponent to drive him down to the mat. That's definitely an advantage when you're on the bottom like that.
Now Weaver stands up. I'd like to see him squat his hips a little bit more, get a little bit more separation, make it tough for Walker to hold on to him.
right, and there's that hip separation that he's created there. Looks like Walker's not quite as comfortable on top. Took a nice little shot on the outside, but once again, Weaver did a nice job defending and takes a reshot of his own. And Kevin, you had mentioned earlier that these two have wrestled each other a lot in the offseason. They have had very close matches, and a lot of times when that happens, guys get to know each other pretty well, and so they become a little more tentative when they wrestle each other. Looks like Walker's in deep here on an outside single again. Weaver again, nice job fighting it off, does a reshot on the right-hand side. Again, he's going to try and pop that, or actually Walker's right leg. He's going to try and pop that leg off and get his head out. If he can do that, right here, he's going to maybe switch off to double. Nope, he circles over to the right-hand side for a single again. Tries to step over top. We're back in that same position. Now he might be working spladle here. It's a dangerous position. And the official awards 2 and back points. Weaver in a tough spot here.
I don't know if he's going to get the fall because, well, maybe because it looks
tight.
like.
It looks tight, Kevin. This is not a move that we see often. I'm not even sure, honestly, what to call this. He's got the head pinched between his two legs. He's not scissoring his legs, and so it's a legal position.
I just wonder if he's going to get the fall because his legs they're next to the head, not quite underneath.
Looks like Weaver's going to be able to fight off his back here. That was a big exchange there for Walker. That'd
be a 5-point move.
It should be a 5-point move here. I think we're missing 2 points on the board here for the takedown.
Yeah, it should be up 5-1. But it was also important for Weaver to keep fighting off his back, save those team points. Because in this tight of a duel meet, team points, every team point you can earn or save your team is going to be big.
So Walker chose neutral here. Definitely, he's had more success in that position than what Weaver has had in this particular match, just based on that one exchange. Now, Weaver was in good position there. If he'd have tabled that leg on the left-hand side or cut across to a double, I'm confident he could have finished. That said, Walker capitalized on just being in a little bit better position.
Yeah, Weaver was able to set up his shot from taking a reshot off of Walker, but again, just not quite able to finish. And we've talked before about the importance of a good reshot after fending off your opponent's shot, and that Walker able to score a takedown to make it now with the escape. Now makes it 7-2. Walker is going to be looking for the major decision.
Yeah, Walker is not looking tentative at this point. He is working for the major. 7-2, as you just said. He just had another takedown there. Weaver working a dump on the left-hand side. Right here, I'd like to see him kind of just back out and get in good position. Don't want to wrestle from your knees. So 1:01 left. Score is 7-2.
I'd like to see Weaver just take a little bit further penetration step on his shot.
And that's something he's going to continue to work on. So Walker gets another takedown and another escape for Weaver. Lets him go. So the score is 9-3. So Walker up by 6 points. If he gets another takedown, which is the coaches, that's what they're yelling for right now, he could potentially get a major decision if he keeps Weaver down. So Weaver in bad position right now, looking to hip whip. But Walker was able to get behind and get the 2. If he keeps Weaver down now, they get the major decision with an 11-3 win. Weaver has got to get an escape here. This is big for the team.
And 5 seconds,
5 seconds left. And it looks like Walker's going to hold him down for the 11-3 victory. And that's 14 points for the Thundering Herd. Really a hard-fought match on both guys. And Kevin, we talked in the last duel match, when you get guys that are so evenly matched like that, it becomes a game of inches. And Walker was able to capitalize on a position that I feel like Weaver felt pretty comfortable in, and then all of a sudden he ended up on his back because of a move that he probably really hadn't predicted or seen.
And for the 138-pound match, And Clay Schuhart from the Carlisle Thundering Herd versus Jared Baker. Schuhart is a senior coming into this dual meet before today at 4-3. He's going against Jared Baker, who's a sophomore.
We spoke in the last match. Jared Baker tends to take shots without a whole lot of hand fighting. And so what happens is exactly what we saw there. As he's taking those straight shots without the hand fighting and setups, his opponent's able to stop them. If he could continue to work on clearing hands as he penetrates, creating angles, doing a little setup here or there, he's going to get in because he has a nice step. And he's going to get in and he's going to finish those takedowns. It's getting past those first lines of defense from your opponent. There you go. So while he was stopped there, he got a little deeper and got to the opponent's legs. He had a nice little setup there. He works his way into the double leg, and he gets the takedown.
And you don't necessarily have to get a takedown to bring your opponent all the way to the mat. The Schuhart's hands touched the mat, and therefore that gave Baker the 2 points. Now, he does have him on the mat now, but the initial takedown happened. Some people might be thinking, well, he's not down on the mat. Takedown is not just when the opponent goes all the way down. And Jared Baker up 2-0, 26 seconds left in the first period, 138-pound match. Spring Grove leading the overall dual meet score, 9-4, over the Carlisle Thundering Herd. And 15 seconds left. Baker's got to try to ride his opponent out.
He's doing a nice job, Kevin, of keeping his weight on his opponent, keeping his opponent flat and extended on the mat. Riding parallel, he's got to be careful of that because we can get warned for stalling here, but not with this short of time left in the period. So finishes that period 2-0. Again, he used a nice little setup to get in on that shot. He was able to get his hands on the legs and work into that double where he finished and then controlled his opponent for the rest of the period. So good period for Baker.
And Baker deferred to choice to Schuhart, and Schuhart's going to go neutral to start the second period.
Haven't really seen a whole lot of offense from Schuhart. I believe that if Baker can continue to work those hands, just one little setup, Schuhart really presenting that right-hand leg. Has a nice little straight shot there where he kind of powered his hips in, but Baker doing a really nice job with a mean crossface that ended up stopping that. I tell you, Kevin, the crossface is probably one of the most basic moves in wrestling. It's one of the most painful things to experience and can really be very effective in stopping your opponent.
Well, as we said against the Southwest match, when your opponent takes a shot and you fend them off, sometimes you do want to inflict, as we said, some temporary discomfort to make them think twice about taking that shot. Now, Baker another double leg takedown, gets takedown for 2 points to be up 4-0.
Well, looking at that shot, Kevin, it almost looked like Baker was looking to go to an ankle pick on the left-hand side, was a little higher on the calf, and was able to transition to that double leg and finish. So, we've talked about this before as well. Those wrestlers that can transition from one move to another to finish and to score, it really is advantageous for them. And again, Baker went right from that takedown to that cross wrist tilt, which we've seen from so many of the Spring Grove wrestlers. And if you can, again, do those transitions, those quick transitions, and your opponent doesn't have time to react, you can score a lot of points very quickly.
And we have a caution on Jared Baker. He had his head too far across the body. The head is not supposed to cross the middle of the body when in referee's position.
The official for this match, Bob Gano. Bob has been officiating and involved with wrestling since long before even my time, your time, Kevin. He coached for Biglerville for many, many years. Coached some very, very outstanding wrestlers. Used to run camps there.
Baker runs the bar. Sorry I interrupt you there, Dave. Baker runs the bar. Fall 3:28 of the match. Fall for Baker to bring the team score 15-4.
excellent job on the part of Baker there, running that bar and getting that 6 points for the team. So kudos to Jared Baker there. I would argue that was his best match of the day today. Going back to Bob Gano, the reason I brought that up is you have an official there that has a ton of experience with wrestling and coaching guys that have gone on to wrestle at very high levels. And so just a lot of expertise there. He's done a lot to contribute to the wrestling community. And now, even after coaching, he is giving back by officiating. And so we love to see that. So Luke Smizer, freshman for Spring Grove, wrestling at 145 pounds.
And his opponent, Jarrett Wilson from Carlisle, Thundering Herd. He is a junior, bringing into today's action a 5-2 record. And last year in the 19-20 campaign, he went 21-14. And if you look at Jarrett, man, he has got some height and some length on him. So he's going to look to use that to his advantage in his match.
And Jarrett just created a nice angle by circling Smizer's leg to him as he took that outside shot. Was super deep on that outside single, which allowed him to finish pretty quickly.
And with how tall Jarrett Wilson is, he's looking cradle.
Yeah, he's looking cross-face cradle, Kevin, and he's got it locked up tight. He's going to work to try and bring Smizer back using that knee that he's got posted in his side. Now he's going to post that knee in his side. He's going to put his head in his temple. And Smizer's got to work to break that grip, but he is in a tough spot, Kevin.
And fall for Wilson at 57 seconds. When you see a wrestler that is that tall, you need to think of one of two things. He's either a legger or a cradler, and he slapped that cradle on from the standing position. And dual meet score 15-10 in favor of the Rockets, heading into 152-pound match.
For the Rockets, we have Caleb Bolin. And Caleb's had a nice day today. Really a nice season so far this year.
And Anthony DeLangelo from the Carlisle Thundering Herd. He is a freshman this year. He brings in with him a 5-3 record on the day.
D'Angelo looked like he was working that underhook on the left-hand side. If I see him go back to that, I'm thinking high crotch on that side. Bolin, though, takes the high crotch to the opposite side before D'Angelo can get off any offense. So Bolin here wants to continue to power his hips in or crack down. So he can really finish this in either direction. Looks like he's going to try and transition to the double leg. So he's powering those hips in. D'Angelo caught that arm. He's got a chancellor. This is a tough spot to be in. Bolin's got to pay attention where he's at in the mat here. He's also got to be careful he's not going to get called for fleeing the mat, which is what the coaches for Carlisle were advocating for there. So he's got to keep that arm down and elbow in when he's in that position, or else he can get caught in that chancellor. And, Kevin, I say that because I've been there and I've done that.
Get caught or catch people?
Both.
And a shot by D'Angelo, low single, and looks like he's trying to turn the corner. Very important to get that elbow on the mat when you're trying to turn the corner. He has the elbow on the mat. Getting that elbow on the mat creates a lot of pressure on that right leg. Well, actually, yeah, on Bolin's right leg for him to try to turn it.
So
and
D'Angelo
Bolin has a
doing
whizzer.
Nice job. Yep, doing a nice job circling around, trapping that leg, elevating. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Didn't finish that clean, and now he gets behind and gets the two. So Bolin almost worked his way out of that. Short time left here in the period. Scores 2-0. About 12 seconds left here. So important for Bolin to get one, but right now he is pretty flat in the mat. And it looks like D'Angelo working that wrist across Bolin's back and does a nice job of staying on top here for that first period. So Bolin down 0-2 after the first period. But we know that Bolin he has a motor that doesn't quit. He is definitely not out of this match.
And Bolin deferred his choice to D'Angelo, and D'Angelo's going to choose neutral to start the second period. And wrestlers are ear to ear, not a good position to be in.
D'Angelo really working that underhook on the left-hand side again, and it seems like it's messing Boland's offense up, although Boland went to the straight double leg. D'Angelo doing a nice job. He's got head and arm here. Boland's got to be careful. Hip whip. He's in a bad position here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he's got him in the fall. Got him in a fall position, looking to score it.
This is not something the Rocket coaches, I believe, planned for. Boland has been a very consistent wrestler. This could be huge for the Thundering Herd.
A lot of time for Boland's going to have to try to fight off his back. A lot of time left to be in this position. And Boland has some flexibility. I guess he might be able to use that to his advantage. He's still continuing to fight.
Excellent job fighting off his back here. 40 seconds left. He's really got to free that arm to be able to get in good position. And now D'Angelo has Boland's arm trapped under his waist.
28 seconds left. Boland continuing to fight.
$15 left. D'Angelo readjusts on the half.
10 seconds in the period. See if Boland can keep fighting.
He's bellying down. He got the arm free.
Fight.
So again, when it comes to team points, not getting pinned there is huge. And Boland's not out of this match yet. Kevin, we've talked about this many times. The match is not over until that last buzzer sounds.
And Coach Conover's putting Caleb Boland neutral.
So he's down 7-0. I agree with Coach Conover. Putting him on the bottom just wastes time that he could be using to score. And so we know Boland has a good offense on his feet. He was in deep on D'Angelo last time. D'Angelo did a nice job countering with that little hip whip there and stepping over. So Boland's got to get a clean, deep shot here. And if he can go feet to back, that would be huge. That's not what the Rockets are looking for right there.
Didn't quite gain control. Wrestler's out of bounds.
Right now, it's only a regular decision if the match ends at 7-0. So Boland has to keep that in mind as well. He either needs to pin his opponent, get a takedown just to keep the match in that regular decision range, or make sure no points are scored this period.
And D'Angelo very, very tough on the defense with when Boland takes a shot. We saw the hip whip earlier. Looked like he tried to work a little bit of a quarter Nelson there.
If Boland steps over, there you go. He didn't even have to step over. Or sorry,
Now,
D'Angelo. He didn't even need to step over there to get the two. Once Boland flattened out, the two was awarded. Now he's working cradle near side, stepping over that near leg.
D'Angelo up 9-0.
Boland needs a reversal here with 40 seconds left in order to cut this lead to 7.
He's got the Western leg ride. That's very tough to escape from that.
It's a great ride for wasting time. Sorry, I should say burning time off the clock.
Either way, works to your advantage. And 5 seconds left. And it looks like D'Angelo scored a major decision over Caleb Boland, 9-0. And again, that was big for Caleb Boland to fight off his back. The match score could be 16-15, but Boland was able to save his team a couple of points. And 160 pounds. Looks like we have Nizey Mummert from Spring Grove. And I believe this is going to be Sean Smith.
So Mummert 1-1 on the day. Wrestled a great match. First match out, really dominated his opponent. Second match out, wrestled a an upperclassman that was just a notch above, and just had a little bit better offense, and was able to beat Mummert in that second match today.
And Sean Smith from Carlisle, he is a senior coming in on the day with a 7-0 record, and last year in the 1920 campaign, he went 25-7.
I got to tell you, Kevin, that was a nice little trip on that left-hand leg, and to me that demonstrates some pretty high skill level. And so this might be another one of those matches where Isaiah has his hands full with an older, more experienced wrestler.
Spoke to Coach Wilson before the day started. Sean Smith is actually signed to wrestle with Kutztown, and he's also enrolled in the ROTC. So, Sean, thank you for your service that you'll be doing for our country. And also, Coach Wilson, now he's got Mummert in a pinning position there. Sean Smith's coming in today with 90 victories, career victories, looking to go for 100. Won the season. And he's looking for the fall against Mummert. 53 seconds left. And he scores a fall 1 minute, 13 seconds over Nizy Mummert. Sean Smith, the victor.
Obviously a tough wrestler there, and if he's going on to wrestle at Kutztown, the coaches at Kutztown see the capability that he has as well. So kudos to him, and as you said, Kevin, thank you for your service. So next up we have Tommy Dressler for the Rockets, and if you remember in the last match, he beat Tate Nichter from Chambersburg. And that was a hard-fought, very close match against between two guys that are state caliber wrestlers. So Dressler here working a front head and arm, burying that head really nicely. Transitions to a near side cradle, right to his opponent's back. Look how he's twisting that head.
That looks painful.
That does not
look pleasant.
That is a very uncomfortable place to be, and at that point you almost want to be pinned just to get off the mat. We go back to the mental part of wrestling. Dressler made that very, very uncomfortable for his opponent, and that certainly makes it difficult. So next up, Teague Conover. Tough day today. Looking at bouncing back here at 189 pounds.
And his opponent, Colton Zimmerman. Colton Zimmerman is a senior this year, bringing in a 5-2 record. Overall, he has over 100 victories for his career.
Yeah, Kevin, it's interesting. Colton Zimmerman looks like a pretty big kid, right? I wouldn't expect him to be able to move quite like that, but when you see him get in his stance and you see how he moves, he looks very athletic. And that shot that he just took is a demonstration of his athleticism.
And Colton Zimmerman is going to be wrestling at Lackawanna College. Colton Zimmerman is a former PIAA fifth-place finisher at the 18-19 season, scoring a fall. He is a 4-time state qualifier.
Yeah, he is a tough kid, very explosive.
Zimmerman scoring the fall at 46 seconds to bring the dual meet score to 26-21 in favor of the Thundering Herd. But the Rockets, they need they need a win here from Logan Herbst at 2:15. Him and Malik Miller, this is Malik Miller from Carlisle, they went 1-1 against each other last year in the duels. So again, a big victory is needed from Logan Herbst.
Two big, powerful wrestlers here. This is going to be an interesting bout. And my guess, it's going to be a bout that goes to the guy that makes less mistakes.
And we are at the 215-pound weight class.
So it looks like the official Bob Gano having to talk to these two wrestlers, getting a little aggressive with the shots to the head here, reminding them we're not in a boxing match, we're in a wrestling match.
Certainly important for a referee to establish control of the match before it can get really out of hand. Very important to do that, especially with two very, very physical wrestlers who, again, they went 1-1 against each other last year, and they were both very, very tough matches.
And this is a hotly contested team match. And so energy's high, emotions are high, and these guys want to win for their team. And so they're coming out with a lot of aggression. Would like to see them trying to get each other out of position here. Right now it seems like they're both being pretty conservative in this match.
The reason I say Spring Grove really needs this match is Carlisle was forfeiting the 106-pound weight class. So it gives Spring Grove, so you got to figure they have another 6 points added to their score at some point. But again, this is a match they really need to help build the lead up, because at 113 pounds lurks Noah Clausen, and we'll give his backstory here in a little bit. But he's a very, very tough wrestler. So Spring Grove need this match from Logan to try to add to that score, because you're coming around at the end. Very, very tough way to end your match. And nice snap by Malik.
So with 14 seconds left, not a whole lot of offense in this period. So both wrestlers trying to just stay in good position, trying to get a feel for the other wrestler. I'd like to see a little more hand fighting here, creating angles, getting your opponent out of position. I do appreciate their collar tie is forehead to forehead. Both guys are staying in good position. They're not hanging on each other. They're not ear to ear on that collar tie, just wasting time. They are staying in solid position. So Herbst gets the opportunity to choose down.
And 0-0 to start the second period. 215 pounds, Logan Herbst versus Malik Miller. Dual meet score 26-21 in favor of the Thundering Herd.
Herbst has a nice little sit out there, creates separation with his hips, and gets the 1 point. So now back to our feet, and like I said earlier, I'd love to see these guys continue the hand fighting, but really working to get each other out of their position. Herbst took a shot there, but didn't really create an angle, and so he's really reaching at this point. His opponent staying in a pretty powerful position. Don't know if I quite agree with that attempt at that throw there. Not a move that he needed to do. Fortunately, he was at the edge of the mat. Fortunate for Carlisle, he was at the edge of the mat. That looks like Herbst would have capitalized on that.
Yeah, as you can see, the physicality of these guys really, really going at it. You always want to see a good physical match between two opponents, two wrestlers. Good physical match.
I'd like to see Herbst snapping, really from that tie. I don't know that the two hands on the head are really helping him with his offense. I'd like to see him transition to a collar tie with inside control or elbow control, where he can create angles on that outside shot.
Now, Logan Herbst chose bottom. Ty Conover put him down to start the second period on bottom to earn that first point. He's anticipating this could be a very close match that maybe could end up in the ultimate tiebreaker. So what he's doing is he wants Logan to have that first point. So if it gets to that point of the ultimate tiebreaker, Logan can choose where he's going to go.
So Herbst hanging on his opponent's head.
And the Thundering Herd coaches want Malik to just keep pounding on Logan's head. And that can wear your opponent down as well, keeping on somebody's head, keeping her head forced down, which allow you to maybe perform a snap, maybe, and then spin behind, get a quick 2 points. So they want him to keep on Logan's head.
Right here, Herbst could be working an underhook on that right-hand side and almost looking at coming across on a knee pick. He's a bigger, stronger kid than his opponent, just from looking at his numbers in the weight room. I'd like to see him capitalize on that. So Carlisle chooses neutral. So no takedowns in this match. Herbst is up 1-0. That is a surprising turn of events. At this point, Logan Herbst while he can't give up points for stalling.
Nice throw. Ooh.
Oh.
And that's what he's looking for. That's why he put him neutral.
Yeah, there you go, Kevin. Now we know why.
And Logan stepped right into it, following
did.
him. Malik Miller baited him into it. He went in the step, and he got what he wanted.
Herbst needs to stay low in his stance. Miller wants to go upper body. He wants to go for those throws.
Another throw, and he got it.
He did. Herbst pushed right into it. He's got to get the one now. There's plenty of time on the clock.
So he thought it was a curious call by Coach Wilson putting his wrestler neutral, but that is why he knows his wrestler is a thrower, upper body.
Now, that move that everyone just saw is called an arm spin. Generally, it's something that you see in freestyle and Greco-Roman, not something that you see often in collegiate wrestling. So that would lead me to believe that Miller may be involved in the more international versions of wrestling of freestyle and Greco.
And Miller chooses to let Herbst up to make it 2-2 for the third period. Again, he hit one throw on the edge of the mat, didn't quite get the two, and then he hit another throw at the edge of the mat and got the two. So, again, the Carlisle coach feels comfortable putting Malik Miller on his feet, and if I'm Coach Wilson from Carlisle, I agree.
Well, Herbst can't drive in to his opponent. A shot like this, if he can get in and work into that shot, now he's got to watch getting thrown here because he still is in danger of getting thrown. Right here, he's got a limp arm out. So close, ladies and gentlemen. 43 seconds left, and that took a lot of energy out of Herbst. You have two big guys. 43 seconds left, tied 2-2 here. Anything could happen. Miller allowing Herbst to drive into him. It looks like he might try another throw here. Herbst has to be careful with that forward pressure. Herbst goes arm drag. Single leg. He's got to bring him back in bounds. If he grabs that leg, he's going to get the two for the win. Short time. No points.
Feet did not land in
No
bounds.
points.
Feet did not land in bounds.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen. 10 seconds left.
Man, what a sequence from these big boys here.
My guess here is we're going to end.
Good snap by Malik.
Nothing. They can't give up.
Got to
two
get up.
here,
Logan's
Logan.
got to get off. Got to get off his knees.
Zero time on the clock. 2-2. We go to a minute overtime. So in this minute, first points scored, win the match. If you go to your back, if you put your opponent on their back, you can work for the fall. And so we do have to be careful there. It appears that the frantic pace of the last 30 seconds of that third period have slowed down a little bit. Both wrestlers tiring a little. Both recognize that one score here wins the match.
And one score. It doesn't matter if it is a penalty point or a takedown. It does not matter. So in the case of this, gotta watch your physicality. You don't get called for something.
Who has more in the gas tank here, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, he's got to come out of that. He's got to come out of that. He's snapping him. He's got to come right back up. And there's a throw by Malik.
Tries to throw.
And Logan catches him.
To his
He's
back.
looking for the fall. Oh, he gets the ball.
He
gets
the
the
ball.
ball. Oh, don't taunt the crowd. Don't taunt him. Don't taunt him, Logan. Don't cost a team point. Keep it under control.
That was huge, ladies and gentlemen. So we go into the heavyweight match, 26-27, Rockets in the lead. Huge.
What a
turn
physical
of events.
match. What a physical match. Now, while Logan, I'm glad he didn't cost the team a point there. He was very excited after that victory, scoring a huge fall. He is lucky he did not cost his team a team point. Relish that victory, but got to do it behind closed doors.
Congratulations to Logan for toughing that out right there. So at heavyweight for the Rockets is freshman Mike Hershey.
And with that fall by Logan Herbst, bringing the team score 27-26. For the Thundering Herd, Leighton Schmick. Leighton Schmick is a sophomore, bringing in a 6-0 record to the day. He went 18-8 last year. As a freshman at the 220-pound weight class, and he didn't quite make it to the medal round, which would be the Consi semifinals at the district individual meet. So you can say he finished top 8 last year as a freshman, and he's looking for a throw, and he got Hershey in the headlock, and he will award the 2 points. He kept his feet in bounds to get the 2 points awarded.
So a lot of upper body from Carlisle in this match. That was a well set up headlock there. He stepped through, got his hips in, and was able to put Hershey on his back. Fortunately, they only got the 2 points out of bounds there. Hershey giving up some significant size here in this match. It's going to be tough for him on the bottom. He's going to really have to work hard to keep his weight back on his hips and to work his way out.
And Schmick is a pinner, and that is certainly what he's looking for his team. He's got the cradle locked up. Now, Hershey's forearm was off, so he wasn't going to get the fall. Now he's up 4-0. He's looking for another cradle. You don't see too many. Well, he tried for crosses cradle, but you don't see too many cradles out of heavyweights. And
I tell you, the last heavyweight that I saw that was outstanding with cradles was Adam Lopiccolo from Susquehannock. One of the toughest wrestlers to ever come out of York County. He had the nastiest cross-face cradle I can remember in my time while I was coaching.
And Schmick getting the fall, 1 minute 46 seconds.
So with that, the match score comes to 32-27. And Spring Grove's going to get, I believe, a forfeit at 106.
They're going to send Levi Snyder out for the forfeit at 106 pounds, bring the match score 33-32.
And so the last bout of the match comes at 113 pounds with Braxton Rice.
And if you're Carlisle, you are very confident heading into this last match with Noah Clausen from Carlisle. A senior coming in with a 8-0 record. Last year he went 29-9, fifth in the District 3 individual tournament, and in the 18-19 campaign he was a state qualifier, placing fourth in District 3. Noah is also committed. He's choosing between 3 colleges, between King's College, Alvernia, and Elizabethtown, to continue his wrestling and academic career. And he's coming in to, at least today, with 94 career victories, making his way to the 100 career victory mark. All right, and Noah Clausen maintaining control over Braxton Rice. He throws a leg in on the right side. Gets his opponent flat on the mat. And Noah, if I remember correctly from last year, he rides legs, and he also is cross-face cradle because he got the long length. Noah Clausen, his first 2 years at the high school level, 106 pounds. And then the last couple of years, last year his junior and his senior campaign, wrestling at 113 pounds.
So working a nasty bar with hand control. Pretty much takes that bar straight over the top. I know it started out legal, but that he provided a little extra motivation there. So Rice and near fall criteria. Clausen sitting through here. That is a tough spot to be.
And near fall 5-point lead for Noah Clausen heading into the second period. Spring Grove on top 33-32 in the final match of this dual meet.
Clausen doing a nice job pressuring forward there and flattening his opponent. Rice is going to continue to work back, build his base, get himself into a position where he can work to score. So, ladies and gentlemen, we knew coming into this match that it was going to be a very hard-fought battle between the Rockets and the Thundering Herd, and that's proved to be true as we come into this last match, this last bout, with the Rockets up 33-32.
And there's Clausen working the cross-face cradle, again, using his length to his advantage.
He had the far arm trapped above the elbow there as he came across with that cross-face cradle. Did a nice job locking that up. So now he's working knee inside, head in the temple, seeing if he can get Rice's shoulders off of his own shoulder to be able to get him flat on the mat. Rice did a really nice job continuing to fight there, broke the grip, and is able to get out of that position.
And Clausen on top 7-0. 47 seconds left in the second period. It looks like he was trying to work a crossbody tilt. And out of bounds. Heading back to the center of the mat. Clausen on top 7-0. 30 seconds left in the second period. And again, just pressuring forward, keeping Braxton Rice flat on his belly. As a wrestler on bottom, you cannot do a single thing when you're on your belly except pray for a stall call or a stalemate. Clausen still working. You see the toe. It looked like his hand was wrapping around all the way around Braxton Rice, and that is tough. When you have those kind of long arms, you can really, really squeeze the life out and air out of your opponent. Kind of like a snake, like a boa constrictor. You can really squeeze the air out and really, really wear your opponent down.
Okay, well, we come into the third period here. I've got to give a shout-out again to Steve Richards and our Advanced Video Journalism AVJ crew that brings you SG Live. They are the success of our live streaming service. Kevin and I are just the voices that you hear. The majority of the work, actually probably 99% of the work, is in the background with our students and Mr. Richards. And we have about 12 or 15 students here today volunteering their time to bring this to you. And so just a huge shout out to them for their efforts and just the outstanding product that they're bringing to the SG community. I do believe, Kevin, and I think you would agree, that our students and Mr. Richards are setting the bar for live streaming for high school sports and all extracurricular activities, as we've done the same for other events as well.
I would certainly agree with that, Dave, and very, very well spoken. Way to give kudos to Steve Richards and his amazing students. And how about some credit to us? We do a great job too, Mr. Dietrich.
We're just happy to get to talk about wrestling, Kevin.
It is certainly a pleasure. And Clausen's still working. He has a 9-0 lead with 50 seconds left in this 113-pound bout, the final bout of this dual meet. And referee calls a stalemate. As I said, when you're laying on your belly on the mat and you're getting ridden by your opponent, pray for a stall call or a stalemate. And Clausen gets the legs in to continue to try to ride Braxton Rice. Getting a little high. Braxton might be able to shake him. across net. Oh, and referee calls potentially dangerous. 15 seconds left in the bout. Braxton Rice, he is putting up a very, very valiant fight against Noah Clausen, again, a former returning state qualifier. And it looks like the Thundering Herd will wrap up a 36-33 victory over Spring Grove in the final championship match of the Rocket Duels.
A great effort on both teams' parts, and it looks like assistant coach Tony Miller and longtime head coach of the Spring Grove Rockets is walking over to award the traveling belt for the Route 30 Rumble to the Carlisle Thundering Herd. So congratulations to Carlisle, and congratulations to all the wrestlers and coaches today for another outstanding day of wrestling. And thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great weekend.
Enjoy your safe weekend, and also if you have to go out in the snow, please drive carefully tomorrow or Monday. Please drive carefully. Have a great weekend, everybody, and thank you again for joining us.